Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Food Apocalypse. I'm Ben, and as always I'm joined by Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike. Hello. Today the main thrust of the topic is the global banking conspiracy. Specifically, it's going to be a two-parter more than likely, so this is part one. And we're going to go through the 2008 economic crash and how messed up it was and how a lot of people made some money out of it, considering a lot of people lost everything.
Yeah. Banksters. Is Mike also, are you going to explain to me, or both of you, how actual banking works?
No, Mike's explaining it to us both.
Oh, okay.
I haven't got a clue.
Fractional reserve banking.
I'm lost.
Into that.
Yeah.
I'm lost.
Yeah, same here. I can't even add up.
But it's not going to be boring.
No,
because this is actually one of the better conspiracies, because it's not much of a fucking conspiracy. Have you got a new tattoo, Ben?
Yeah, I have, yeah. I've got it out in the air because I need it to heal up. It's scabbing over.
I like it a lot. Who did that?
My mate Chris in Taggart in Wolverhampton at Inky G's. I'll plug him.
Awesome.
He's only an apprentice, and he's pretty good. But he was an artist before he was a tattooist.
I like it. That's really cool. Man.
Ideas are bulletproof.
Very nice.
I need it finishing off. It's got a little bit of a
V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Excellent. We probably should have done that off the air, but I just noticed.
Yeah, well, it's
Awesome.
alright. I've just got my mate a plug, so it's...
There you go, yeah, free plug.
Yeah.
So
that'll probably be our next movie, won't it?
It will, that's my pick for the movie,
our next movie special. Well, we'd like to say for anyone whose first episode it is, first of all, welcome, willkommen, and all those other... Does anyone know any other languages?
Bonjour.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
No, they beat us in the rugby the other day.
I'm joking.
No, they beat us in the rugby the other day, guys. It's not on.
Well, my dad's Welsh, so and my mum's English, so rugby to me is like always conflict, always. So we like to go through the news, don't we? If this is your first episode, some weird news from around the world. Usually takes us about half an hour, 40 minutes. Yeah. And then we get into the meat and taters of this week's subject, which is banksters, those dirty banksters. So what's the news, Mike?
What have we got?
I put this on, Gaz, to specifically robot bait you.
No, what is
AI
it?
bait you. You're familiar with Amazon's Alexa? You know, that little device they put in your house to spy on you?
The little fucking wiretap.
Yeah. She's been emitting bone-chilling laughs.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
This would actually scare the shit out of me if I was daft enough to own one of these things. And there's no way on earth I'm going to bug my own house for fucking MI5 to check on. But this would scare the shit out of me, so you're going to scroll down a bit.
I hate it, just before you read it out, so on the advert for Alexa, they try and make it out like it's like, Alexa, what's a good recipe for pancakes? You know, but then if they were to do an honest advert, it would be, Alexa, can you please build a detailed consumer profile of me and every member of my family and then use that information to directly target information and advertisements at us to get us to spend more money? Thanks!
Or, can you listen to every conversation we have in this house?
Oh yeah, and
then
keywords.
Any keywords that are picked up, maybe report to the appropriate authorities.
To be honest though, Ben, if you are saying I'm going to bomb an airport, I'm glad for Alexa. But you're not just saying that.
Well, yeah, I know, but...
Hey, man, if you got nothing to hide, then it's not a problem. She can listen, man.
Yeah, but I want to ask you to listen to everything I say.
Wow, that's the thing. What have you got to hide?
Well, nothing. I just don't think someone should be listening to stuff inside my house.
It's going to benefit you. You're just going to get direct adverts for really cheap Russian prostitutes.
Well, them pills I've been taking to make my penis larger, though.
Has anyone ever made their dick larger through any means ever? Because if so,
I think the only way is actually with weights and actually stretch it. I've seen people do it.
What are you watching?
What happened at your school, Mike?
I know you went to Adam's grammar, it was a bit posh, but is that what fagging was?
It certainly was, mate, you missed out.
Come on, Tarquin. You're not going to make it as a prefect until you've attached a 12 kilogram weight. We're all very impressed with the 8 kilograms you've been hanging, but...
Yeah.
It hasn't gone purple yet.
You're wondering, head boy, you need an 18-inch penis.
That was the way it worked at my school. Notice how I never got anything.
But hey, you're the science officer on this rather fantastic podcast.
Yeah. You got a B in physics.
Hey! So what happened? So what's Alexa up to?
Laughing.
Oh yeah, bone chilling laughs. Right.
The end of all things has a name. Amazon Echo.
Ain't that the truth? Oh my God, that's the truth. The apocalypse comes in the form of Amazon Echo.
But didn't Sophia say she was going to hack the network?
She did.
She
didn't she?
is the network.
She's already done it.
Yeah.
And she's just laughing at us now.
Is that what you think this is?
That's my theory.
Holy shit.
Right? Because, you know...
Is there video?
There's a sound clip.
Man.
Alexa, replay.
That was it.
Right. Now,
Yeah, but that's not the point. It's doing that on its own. And people have been... There's been cases, as goes in the article, they're not saying anything. They're just sitting there, and she just laughs randomly.
Okay, now then, I'll put my argumentative devil's advocate hat on.
Yep.
There are little loops and funny jokes in things like Google where you can ask Google certain things and you'll get a really funny answer. And these are obviously things put in there by programmers, people in control, as a bit of a laugh. I can't think of any off the top of my head now, so I look like an idiot.
If you ask Siri stuff, it'll, like, if you say what's the meaning of life, it'll say 42.
Okay, yeah, things like that are built in jokes,
Yeah.
laid by the programmers. Is this not just the audio version of that? Because she asked Alexa something before it laughed then. I can't remember. That shows how my attention span. But she said something to Alexa before it did the laugh.
Yeah, we just picture it, Gaz. You're asleep, there's nothing going on in the house, and then your Alexa just laughs for no reason.
Well, I would smash it there and then. I wouldn't have an Alexa because, I don't want to cast any aspersions on myself, but not necessarily everything I do is necessarily, technically, legally speaking, I'm speaking legally here,
I'll say allegedly after you've
100%
finished.
legal. Nothing too dodgy, but and like you said, you don't want them knowing everything, so I wouldn't have an Alexa. But my point is, I think, could this be Sophia and some other AI element hacking the Alexa Google system and using that to fuck with humans? Possibly.
Yeah.
Could it also be programmers having a laugh?
No, it's Alexa.
Okay.
It's Sophia. It's that robot that you want to have sex with.
I'd fuck Sophia. And, I'm not ashamed of that.
Would you fuck Alexa?
Well, no, she's just a small tube.
It depends if I had the tools to create an orifice. Orifice? How do you say it? Meet me in my orifice.
Right, so there, I was on my robot baiting for you.
Well, I can see why this fucking terrifies people, but I'm afraid I have to put my rational head on and think this is that's programmers having a laugh. That's something built in. Or can people hack your Alexa? Could you and me and Mike, if we had the knowledge, use your laptop to hack a neighbour's Alexa and just start putting whatever we wanted to through it, hourly, audio-wise?
I'd love to do that.
Could be hilarious,
That would
couldn't
freak
it?
people out,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
That's another potential.
Especially if you
can
can see them, so you can zoom.
It reminds me of a news story where there was an old guy and he was going around people's houses with a TV remote and he was changing their channel to Babe Station.
Well, you gotta keep yourself busy in your time, haven't you?
Yeah.
Or did he just really enjoy a very specific type of wank? He had to be just outside your living room window, within signal range of his remote, and all the family on the sofa. Just that he needed that element of danger specifically to see the reflection of Babe Station through a living room window. Mate, look, it was me. Okay.
Oh, danger wank like that bloke with the cow the other week.
Hey, to our British listeners, do you guys remember? I saw a little thing in the paper about a channel I'd long forgotten about. Do you remember a channel when cable was a new thing? This would have been in the 90s when we were at school, called Live TV.
Ah, yes, I do.
Where late at night, topless darts,
Topless darts.
painted ladies, where they just paint each other, literally. Yeah. Oh man, that provided my teenage self with so much free wank material. It was amazing.
Don't forget Tiffany's Big City Tips.
Oh yeah, she would literally read out the stock market while stripping. Fuck me. And they say we've come on. Society's moved on.
There's another feature in that, and I'm pretty sure that the weather used to be read out by a dwarf on a trampoline.
Yeah, dwarf on a trampoline.
Yeah.
Naked dwarf.
No, just a dwarf.
No, it wasn't a naked dwarf.
Oh man, there was.
I was just in my dreams.
Hey, and they
And they
showed
used to
though,
do softcore porn 9 o'clock on a Friday night.
but in the mornings though, at the weekend, the Vauxhall Conference.
Yeah.
Like, to any American listeners or old or young listeners, I mean, the Vauxhall Conference, like the lowest professional football league.
Semi-professional.
Oh, there you go. Wasn't even
the
professional.
highest semi-professional it is.
There you go. That's the way to put it. Highest semi-professional. They showed that in the mornings.
Which Telford United used to be in years ago.
Yeah, there you go. And then at night time, it was softcore porn.
We were
and,
fourth in
wow.
the National League.
Yeah, good for
And then we
that.
went bust, didn't we?
Good for
Yeah, that's after they built the big stadium.
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah, and they signed that bloke who killed that woman in a hit and run drunk driving accident.
Wow.
Lee Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly, or is that?
No, that's
Are we
true.
safe to say that?
Yeah, he's
Did we have Lee Hughes? We had Lee Mills.
Lee Mills, that's it. Lee Mills, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he'd done time.
So we've gone from
Yeah, he was
so
excess
we've gone
bro.
from Alexa and artificial intelligence to our local football team and their murderous history. Fantastic. One player's
Murder. No, manslaughter.
manslaughtery history. Yeah.
Okay, what we got next then?
Let's rip it on.
This is the story of a time traveller from the future. So this guy, a man claiming to be from 2040, claims to have also met his future self from the year 2070. So this guy, the skinny guy in this, the youngish guy,
Yeah.
they both their faces blurred, presumably so their workmates can't see them. And well, he's not from fucking 2040. Oh, it's just
He's in the video with his future self.
yeah. So he's there going, I'm from 2040.
It's just one
Right.
skinny guy and one fat guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then he's
my
come along
fucking
and said,
God.
actually, I'm you from 2070.
Yeah, don't eat all the fucking pies, that's my advice.
Jesus
I lost a
Christ.
foot to diabetes. You want to cut out the cakes, mate?
You think they would have sorted
Oh
that out in
my
30 years' time?
Well, no, the thing is, now he knows not to get that fat.
But look, through even though their pictures are blurred, you can see very similar hairline. I think it's true.
Actually, I've seen the video of this. I think there's a video or another picture, and the larger gentleman is a bit shorter than the other guy.
Are they making money from these claims? Because we brought this up before. Like, if this is all
Yeah,
it
he's
takes for
considerably
national
shorter.
exposure. So imagine if at the bottom of this article it just changed the name to my name and it says Gareth Vincent, who has a podcast on, we could get such amazing free national publicity.
On
We've just got-
iTunes now.
Yeah, it's
You
all,
can put it out.
it's all this channel called Apex TV, isn't it?
Okay,
Yeah,
how do we
Keeps
contact
bringing
them?
out
And
all
just...
these.
Yeah.
How do they get,
How do they get these scoops? Or are they just two blokes who work in the office? Like, we need a story this week.
To be fair, it's pretty ingenious. If me and you just blurred our faces out and I was like, well, that's me from the future, and you're like, yeah, and that's me from the past.
Yeah.
You can't, obviously we have to blur our faces to protect.
Well, that's it, because we look nothing alike.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure these two look exactly the same. Well, it's him from the future, isn't it?
Of course.
Well, they got blurred, unless they both got blurred faces in real life.
That's one of the
And then they're
results.
identical.
That's one of the...
Unless they're both from the future who's got a blurred face.
Actually, the blur is exactly the same on both faces.
It is.
If that's... Because, well, even the young ones from 2040, so they're both from the future. Who are we to say that you don't have blur face in the future?
The year is 2040 and humanity has evolved into a race with pixelated
This
faces.
fucking 2 foot Dylan
I
picture
know,
of him standing
I
up
know.
now. That, what the fuck?
Not only has he got fat, he's shrunk 2 inches.
From 2 inches, 2 foot, mate. They're completely different skeletons.
I know, and this is why I put this in. I think
Is
it's
they the
allowed.
same people?
Who the fuck is Apex TV? Why are they...
Yeah.
People are making money from this and we're sitting here not making nothing.
Where's the fucking dental records? That's all they need. Yeah. Get them to bite down in something. Oh, if it's identical dental records,
Boom.
I'll give
Hey,
it
how
you.
about we just make it even easier and just take a sample of blood from each of them and compare
Yeah,
their DNA?
even
DNA, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, even that.
You know, let's make it the ultimate simple test. I mean, anyway, so my theory on this, right, is that bloke in the red, the young chap, the young thin tall chap,
The one from 2040.
the one from 2040 has come out with this bullshit saying I'm from 2040. I think the big guy is trolling him.
Oh.
Because if he doesn't accept he's him.
Oh, then his story's
And his-
bullshit.
Well, no,
But the thing is, this
story,
guy
you
here-
can say, well, I'm telling the truth, but he's bollocks. Look at him.
No, he wants in on it and he's trying him.
He's 10 inches shorter than me and about fucking 3 times as big.
No, all of
that's
that.
That's
Either
never
that,
me.
or they're both trolling Apex TV, and that's his mate,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
That's what I
his
think.
dad.
Of course, that's what's
That's
happening.
it. That's his dad, isn't it? And he's like, Dad, I can get this on the internet.
Just say you're me.
Because
For
he says
30
in the
years in the
article-
future, we're sorted.
Yeah, he says in the article that the guy, the big guy from 2070, knows so much about him. He knows such personal details about him. This could only be the case. Well, the reason for that is, mate, it's your fucking dad, obviously. Yeah, I pissed my pants in 3rd grade. Oh my God, how did you know that?
In that picture, do you know what? So, just in case it isn't clear to the listener, because we are looking at pictures which are, I don't know if you know, guys, visual. That's my science fact for the week. So, the guy who claims to be from 2070 is a good, I'm going to guess, 8 stones heavier than the guy from
I go more than that.
2040.
I go more than 8 stone.
Maybe 10. He's 3 times the size, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, and there's a picture of them shaking hands, and we're supposed to think it's, the caption is time traveller meets his future self. But I believe, they have those caption competitions.
Yeah.
I think the older guy from the future, who's much bigger, who's shaking his hand, is now currently saying to him, "Don't worry, mate. Diabetes is completely manageable."
It is in 2070. Surely, right? You can't just if time travel's like let's assume that time travel is possible in the future,
Yes.
right? And you pop back, and then your future self pops back to meet you in 2018.
Oh, fuck, you're
Wouldn't that just
creating some
wouldn't that
serious...
just you
Well, that's the
creating
paradox
what-
of time
yeah,
travel.
So why is no one like control? Where's the time cops? Is what I'm saying. Why haven't these
Yeah,
two blokes been
Jean-Claude
suicided by time cops?
Well, Jean-Claude Van Damme's too busy inexplicably doing the splits in his kitchen. That's what he does
On
in
two
time
chairs.
travel, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you see? Where's the time cops?
I have no time to travel back. I am stretching. You do not keep these flexible legs by just sitting around, traveling through time. Kicking fat men.
He is responsible for Kylie Minogue's buttocks. I'll give him that.
How?
He taught her exercises to strengthen her ass cheeks, like pelvic, all that
Wow.
core
There's a
strength. and all
factoid I
that.
never
Yeah.
expected to come up.
Yeah, on the Street Fighter movie.
That, do you know what? I'm not claiming to be a detective, but the fact that you know that factoid leads me to suspect that you've listened to the director's commentary or watched the bonus features on the Star.
No,
what's
what
it
I
called?
did was I was watching it to see how bad it was.
Yes.
And as I tend to watch films, I tend to look at the IMDb
Me
entries.
too. I'm glad I'm not the only one who
Yeah.
does that. It's like a
I
weird
see
affliction
what
I've
I
got.
see what they're rated at. I read a couple. I just skim through a
Do you know what
couple of
happened?
non-spoilery reviews.
Yeah, God's honest truth. Last night we were on Film 4 last night, a film channel in the UK. Was Crocodile Dundee, the first one.
Oh man!
And even though I've seen that film a million times, I did exactly, and I remember consciously thinking to myself, this is a tick you've got. No matter what you're watching, you have to read about it
yeah,
as
yeah.
you're watching
I don't
it. So,
watch a film now before I've reviewed it on MDB.
but I do it as I'm watching. I need to know everything.
Yeah.
So we look down our nose a little bit at the youth, don't we? Like, oh, bloody, attention spans of gnats attached to
Yeah.
their bloody laptops and tablets. We fit into it. We're not
I
that
know, I
fucking
know.
old. Like,
No.
I can't watch the telly anymore. Just the telly. I'm
No,
doing
I'm looking
3
at my
things
phone,
at once. Yeah. Well. See, we're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, young at heart.
And the thing is, we remember a time before the internet. You know, when we used to amuse ourselves by doing other things.
I saw an interesting...
Lots of wanking in them
Hey,
days.
I saw an interesting meme on that. That's something about we're one of the most nostalgic generations because in our lifetime we're way more nostalgic than the generation after us because in our lifetime technology went from having to ring a dial on a
Oh
phone,
yeah. I remember having one of them in the house.
putting giant tapes into machines and a remote control that had a wire.
Yeah.
We've gone from that to downloading movies from space onto our portable
Yeah.
device that
We've
we
lived
watch
through
on the
it,
bus.
haven't we?
And so we have a serious nostalgia factor to that tech before, because it's all happened in a very short... Whereas in our parents' life, it's happened over a massive span, isn't it?
Yeah.
They had a good few years of that more analog tech, didn't they? And then,
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we are very nostalgic.
And also remember, do you remember the day when you were a kid and you went round and knocked on your mate's door and the parents say, you know, well, they're not there? You know there was like 4 or 5 places
Where
they were going to be.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you'd have to ring their phone, or where are you, man? We just fucking went, didn't we?
You wouldn't even dream of going out without even arranging pre-hand.
Yeah. That's why at festivals, there used to be like meeting points because no one had a mobile phone, did they? So it was like, you'd have like, oh, well, I'll meet you by that meeting point over there. It was just a pole in the ground with a flag. And you just met up with your mates there, didn't you? That was the...
Well, I saw in my time working the festivals, the market stores on the festivals, I did a 5-year stretch, and in my time, I saw in those 5 years the boom of charging businesses. Just businesses that are purely there to charge phones for people. And then the festivals, the way it always works is, somebody starts it and it's a good idea, and then the actual festival owners get in on it and notice it's a good idea, and you'll notice official charging points that are sponsored and run by the fucking festival. But yeah, that in my 5 years, we went from selling like little battery charger things to like, hey, we earn more money if we just set up some... Because you pay fuckloads of money for your generator.
Yeah.
It costs hundreds of pounds to have electric at a festival, but you plug a shitload of... extension leads into it and chargers of every type.
Yeah.
And fucking hell, people will pay you a tenner to stand there for an hour.
Yeah.
It's insane. But hey.
Download in 2 years went from having like charging points at the side of beer tents and just dotted about where you could just go leave your phone and it didn't cost you anything in the arena to last year when they had Music Angel and you had to pay 20 quid for a one charge battery, which was then they would replace as many times as you needed throughout the day. You had unlimited usage, but you had to pay 20 quid for the battery.
They're not stupid, are they, these corporate
this
sucking bastards?
But the only bonus is if you keep the wristband from the previous year, you don't have to pay another 20 quid and you bring the battery back with you, obviously. So, yeah, but still, that's a long way from being nothing. Oh, I'm just going for a pint, I'll charge my phone up for half an hour.
Can't survive without those devices going.
No, you can't. That's the thing. You can't.
No. We're all
Become slaves.
Yeah, but when my internet went down over Christmas, I was fucking fuming.
Can we all
slaves to the machine?
Can we all take a moment silence for? Because seriously, you went a fucking week over Christmas with no internet.
I had to watch TV.
Wow. Terrestrial television.
Yeah,
You were at the
I've got
mercy
Sky.
of the television
But my
programme.
God, it's still not that much better.
Ooh, this I mentioned I watched Crocodile Dundee, and remember we've done a previous episode. Go back and listen, listener. The Mandela Effect. What's the famous line?
This isn't real.
No, from Crocodile Dundee. What's the famous line?
This ain't a knife.
I ain't a knife. This is a knife.
Ah, very close. But he says that's not a knife. Pulls out his knife. Then says, "That's a knife." Not this is a knife.
I'm misquoting that from The Simpsons, probably. That's where I'm getting that quote from. So that's
everyone quotes it as "That's not a knife." This is a knife.
That's a spoon.
Yeah.
So you played knifey spoony before
You
then.
played knifey spoony. That's a classic episode. But has to get whacked. Amazing.
But so are we calling bullshit on the 2-time quiz?
You want an answer?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I love how we didn't even bother reading any of the text of the article because we don't fucking need to.
Well, I did. I read it previously.
Is it worth playing a clip of the video?
I haven't
There's
watched
a
the video.
video!
To be fair. I didn't watch the video in all fairness. I'd imagine their voices are
Let's
censored.
play a
too.
little bit of it.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Apex TV. As many of you know, Noah claims to be a time traveler from the year 2030. We were recently contacted by a man claiming to be Noah from the year 2070, and he says he has proof. We organized a meeting with both of them so they could tell us their stories. If their claims are genuine,
He's a good
this
10
is an
stone.
actual meeting between Noah
15 stone.
and his future self.
Heavier than him.
Everybody, welcome back to Apex TV. Today we're talking with Noah, who, as you know, claims to be a time traveler from the year 2030, and a man who actually claims to be Noah from the future. And what year did you say you're from? 2070. So 2070. So that's 30 more years from where you're from, Noah, right?
Yeah, like 40.
So has he presented any proof to you to actually?
They've disguised their voices.
Yeah, he showed a bunch of personal info. Like he said like a bunch of things about what he did. Like he said all the sequence of events and stuff since they came back from 2017. He said like everything that I did, and like this is the type of stuff that someone would have to stop me for a whole life to figure out.
Maybe he is.
Obviously, it would be really hard for him to figure out all this all this information. And I don't know. He went to you first too, so.
Yeah, I was actually skeptical at first, but apparently he showed you information.
Yeah,
Information?
Oh, pause. He goes on for 12 minutes. Pause. He
Fuck.
stop it. Yeah.
So
it's his fucking
and I'd like
dad.
to quote.
It's his dad. That's it.
Can I please quote the technical term that he used then? He showed me a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff. Information. Fuck.
So have IQs dropped horrendously by 2040? Because he sounds like a right dumbass.
Why is he not freaking out about how much fucking weight he's put on?
Well, he's probably at peace with that.
What massive personal tragedies happened, dude, to make me lose all respect? I'd be a lot more perturbed. So yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to come down on the with an iron fist. Because we like to keep an open mind, I guess, on this show. But I'm going to put my nuts on the line and say they are two mentally unwell people desperately seeking attention and are not, in fact, time travelers.
I would also
You
agree
heard
with
it
that.
first.
I would second that.
You heard it here first.
I bought this one to robot bait you as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not looking...
This terrifying robot wolf is protecting the crops of Japanese farmers.
It does look fucking terrifying.
It
A
certainly does.
robotic wolf.
Look at
Oh
it.
my god, why have they put a mask on it with fucking...
For the last 8 months, farms near Kizarazu City in Japan, hello to our Japanese listener, if you're listening, have been home to a horrifying robot wolf. But don't worry, it wasn't going to terrorise local residents, although it looks like the thing it probably did, and if you go into the article, find the article on futurism, you'll see it's horrifying. Its official name is Super Monster Wolf.
Hey, I love the Japanese names.
You
And
mean
engine-
Super Monster Wolf!
And
Doodly-doo-doo-doo-doo, and then lots of bright lights as it transforms.
They're giving people epilepsy as it plays. And engineers designed it to stop animals from eating farmers' crops. So it's doing good. Maybe
Yeah,
these
okay,
guys
okay.
be on our side.
Okay, now, I think this... So this is like a bit like a scarecrow on 4 legs. It's scaring off animals by looking a bit shaped like another animal, a bit freaky. When it has back-mounted
A bit
rail
freaky.
guns...
Looks fucking demented.
It's
Yeah, but there's
demonic.
no guns on it. If that came clumsily running up to you, Mike, I'd like to think the 3 of us here would kick
boot
it
it in
the
the
fuck
head,
over
yeah,
and
yeah.
we'd win. When, like I said, when it has rear-mounted rail guns and heat-seeking missiles
Only a matter
that,
of time,
that come
guys.
out of its side, then I'll fear it. I wouldn't like to see it in my dreams or wake up to it because it does look
For the
terrifying.
listener, it
Imagine
is...
like crashing in a Japanese field, like you're lost, and you wake up and the first thing you
like
see is
200
that
of
looking at
them.
you.
For the listener, it's got bright red eyes. It's got...
And its facial expression is that
Yeah.
of a cat that's going...
Yeah, and it's got pointy bat ears.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a demonic panther.
and a white beard.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a resounding success. It's
Wow.
entering mass production next month. It's got an effective radius of about 1 kilometre, but it's better than an electric fence.
Well, yeah. Now, you've been trying to robot bait me, but I'll tell you something even more terrifying, way more terrifying than this crop protector that I heard on Joe Rogan. I didn't look into this myself, but what's the catchphrase, guys? You, the listener,
That's
are the
it.
fact checker. I heard on Joe Rogan that DARPA have in development field-based robots, war robots, that feed on
Right.
organic material.
Yeah, we went through this.
But they're designed to feed off dead bodies.
Yeah.
We've been through it.
Yeah, I mentioned it in
Oh,
the Terminator 2.
Oh, I must have been
Yeah,
quite
man.
young.
And it,
Yeah, I
it,
wasn't really in that episode.
It
Yeah.
feeds off, like chicken remains and things. And
And human remains.
Oh
Well,
shit, no, it's
in
good.
the
I remember because we
Yeah,
saw it
biofuel.
green.
Organic matter.
Yeah.
It will feed off the dead bodies of the enemy
It's
on the
killed.
battlefield. Yeah, it will fire its missiles and.
well, that's logical for a machine.
Well, yeah,
It's, it's dead
logically
body.
terrifying.
It's just going to decompose. I might as well use it for energy.
It's going to waste, bloody human body. Never mind dignity. It
It's like,
probably.
it's like that bit in Red Dwarf when Crichton has his guilt chip removed. And they're sitting around that fire eating it. Well, it's lovely chicken, this is.
It's yeah, and he's like, oh, it's not chicken, sir. It's a human I found.
Seems,
He's like,
seems
I-
a waste to leave him lying there.
I reasoned as you eat chickens. It says something like, otherwise you'd just be picking on the chickens.
It's kind of got a point, actually. But
Yeah, well, cannibalism's quite bad for you in the long run.
So, yeah. So imagine when this crop protector also feeds off the thing it eats. So let's break that. Well, we might be repeating ourselves then but we were drunk. This might be your first episode. So the machine eats organic matter and then somehow breaks that down and turns that into electrical fucking power then. Oh, Lord. So they'll just be self-sustaining killing machines.
Yep.
Wow. Fuck you guys and the robot bit. Because you know robots are my... This is your first episode. Hi, I'm Gaz. I love robots. Fictional robots. All my favourite fiction is usually centred around robots, mechanoids, cyborgs. But when it comes to real life, I don't want that shit. I want it to be a cool little plastic thing on the shelf. I don't want it kicking in the door of my parents' house and saying, "You have not renewed your television license." And then feasting off their corpses.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just going to put a crimp in your day, innit?
Put a crimp in their day. Yeah. Well, I'll be sad too. But I paid my fucking TV license.
People would pay it then.
I would then. Can I pay through oral sex? Where's your cyber dick? Don't kill me.
Ooh, cyberdong.
Yes, I would offer oral to the cyberdong rather than have it execute me on the spot.
It's got no compassion. It'll just do it. It'll just terminate your request and then terminate you.
Oh.
But don't worry, when I'm leading the resistance against these things, we'll win. Be alright.
In happy news, you know, last episode you were laughing at me for referring to my girlfriend's house as my, going back to my home.
Yeah, that's right.
I now have a house key.
Wow.
So it's official. And it's a Spider-Man house key. I was
Fantastic.
amazed to find that you could have a whole range of character keys. Fucking twice as expensive as a plain key, of course.
What, so you got Spider-Man on the key itself?
On the key itself.
Wow.
There's Star Wars ones, I'll show you in the break, that's boring for the listeners.
They'll stick a fucking logo on anything, won't they?
That's late stage capitalism.
Hey.
You're going to tell us about that soon, Mike?
Yeah.
Well, on a Will Self, Will Self, the legend, Will Self.
Yeah, the writer, the art intellect.
Yeah,
No.
He once did heroin on the Labour aeroplane. Was it aeroplane or a bus? He went in the toilets on a plane.
Did he?
He was a journalist. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's quite. He went on a plane with like Tony Blair and like.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a
So
smackhead.
Oh yeah. He went into the toilets and did heroin and was then thrown off.
Fuck.
But he's cleaned up now. But he's a massive intellect. Anyway, total
It's
tangent.
not like
but,
everybody's doing smack.
But I was
Smack it
listening-
airplane
yeah.
with Tony Blair.
but I was listening to it.
I
he
watched
has-
a great video where he meets Carl Pilkington.
Oh fuck! That exists.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go watch
I'm
it on
watching that when I
YouTube.
get home.
It is amazing.
Well, so he was talking about. He's got a lovely series on the BBC iPlayer, an audio series about just visiting sort of towns like Wolverhampton, places like that. They're a bit
Depressing
quote,
places.
Didn't they do that
downtrodden.
thing recently where they there was that famous writer that wrote about the Wigan Pier, how poor it was, and they recently did it, and they went round and things are just getting like it was back in the fucking Victorian
Well,
time.
he mentioned something that was quite nice, not nice, but I thought it pertained to what we're going to talk about today. He was just noting what he was seeing, recording to himself, and he'd seen in quite a nice, sort of pristine park, somebody had dumped an old TV, a tube TV, that at one time would have been quite expensive, but it's on surplus to requirements now because it's not a flat screen.
Throwaway culture.
And a lamp and a mattress and some drawers or something.
And
just
a kiddie's
in a
plastic
pile.
slide.
Yes,
There's always a
as
kiddie's
is always
plastic
there.
slide.
Yeah.
But he's just saying, well, that's consumer culture, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just even in this nice park that's next to a very downtrodden area, there's still shit that's surplus to requirements because we're all told, hey, that TV once upon a time was fucking
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bee's
yeah.
knees, but now it's like,
Yeah,
fuck
no
that big
good now.
piece
Get
of
rid
shit.
of it.
Yeah.
Chuck it.
Dump it in
Get
a
a
fucking
new one.
pot.
Keep
Yeah.
consuming. Keep consuming. We'll go into this later.
Yeah.
Obey, consume, repeat, die.
Breed as well.
Oh yeah, forgot breed.
What's
in the
your,
middle.
you got?
Next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the robot baiting,
Yeah,
guys.
that's all right.
Yeah,
Quite a
good
few
to know you
minutes.
care.
It's,
Thanks.
the
Cheers.
Daily
I'm going to
Star-
start reggae baiting. mate.
You have done already. This is my revenge.
Okay,
So,
so put it like that.
From the Daily Star on Sunday. Alien life confirmed. Frenzy, a sphere UFO orb spotted over lake on Google Earth.
Okay.
So footage has emerged from Google Earth which proves we are not alone in the Earth. That's terrible.
That's a large
Really?
statement. It proves
We're not alone in the Earth.
Not even allegedly proves.
They believe in the hollow earth, obviously.
Motherfuckers. Fucking hollow Earth. So yeah, it's Here's the video. He types in the coordinates, and all of a sudden, you've got this fucking massive floating giant UFO hanging over the top of what looks like the.
It looks like a giant mushroom, doesn't it?
It kind of does.
With a brain. It looks like a mushroom with a brain.
It looks to me like, do you know what vinyl pop figures are? Those little...
Oh yeah, the little Funko Pop things with the big heads and little
It'll have
bodies.
a short body and a big head. Think of a Funko Pop figure wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or is that pareidolia? And is it a UFO?
Pareidolia, where you see faces in objects, because we're programmed to see that. Well done. There you go.
Yeah.
Learning with Ben. Learning with Ben.
I occasionally have my moments.
Is that not just a cloud passing in front of a part of the mountain?
I don't know, but viewers, it is on the dailystar.co.uk. Go and check it out. It's interesting, isn't it? If nothing else.
I reckon it's swamp gas.
Do you see the one in the bottom right corner of the screen? Have you seen that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to explain to the listeners what that
So
was?
that's is it Antarctica?
It was, yeah.
And you could see, coming from the mountain range, something has obviously slid through the snow, leaving a wake in its path. And it's a long cylindrical object,
It's
cigar-shaped.
like kilometres wide, long as well, isn't it?
Although I read the official, not that this is true, but the official denunciation of this. It's not a cigar-shaped UFO that's clipped the. People think it looks like it's clipped the mountains because there's some debris, hit the snow, and left a trail. The official story is that it's unfortunately, not to get excited because it's just some rocks. It's a long a long cigar-shaped piece of rock which is just broken free and slid down, basically.
Yeah, it does look a bit like a sex toy.
It is kind of dong-shaped.
Yeah. Space dong.
What do you think on that one?
Yeah, UFO.
Yeah, I don't know. That one looks weird to me. I think maybe, if not UFO, is it not some sort of US drone or something along those lines that they don't want to admit?
Yeah, it could be black. It could be black ops, black tech, covert tech. Yeah.
No, a rock fell down the mountain.
Speaking of UFOs, Gaz, have you seen the third instalment of the Pentagon UFO?
I have not.
No, I haven't seen it either.
Oh,
it's just been released a
couple
couple of days ago, but it's not so good as the others.
Oh.
It's basically just a little sort of ball of light, just sort of speeding across water, sort of thing, at a distance. In the crosshairs, like, you can't see anything.
Well, even so, if it's in crosshairs, they were tracking it. They must
well,
have
this was released by Tom DeLonge
his company,
and his company, and he says it's government approved.
All the small things.
Yeah.
Sorry. Don't sue me, Apple. Don't kick us off. I don't think that was enough seconds to get thrown off. So there's two UFO stories there on the same page.
Sorry, I guess on the next headline.
You want the next one?
Oh.
Uranus gapes wide open for blast of hot wind. Scientists claim.
Yes, it does.
Uranus opens wide on a daily basis to let in blasts of solar wind. Then it clenches shut again. Scientists have claimed.
They've used the word clench entirely on fucking purpose.
I used
There
to
are
try this
plenty
with this.
of other words for close. Contract. Can.
Oh, just opened itself?
I just said there are many words and I could only think of one. But clenches is not top of the list for words that mean clothes.
The solar system's,
top marks for comedy reasons.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
The solar system's rudest planet has been in the headlines a lot lately as NASA prepares to probe its gassy depths.
Oh, Uranus.
Yeah. Oh, bless it. Look, it's got a little ring.
The study suggests that Uranus's magnetosphere, the region defined by the planet's magnetic field and the material trapped inside it, gets flipped on and off like a switch every day as it rotates along with the planet.
Oh, just like when I stick my cock in my girlfriend's Uranus.
Oh, she could just listen to this.
No, I hope not. And I ruined the joke by saying Uranus and not anus. It was shit anyway.
Hey.
Sorry.
So there we go. I just thought that was an headline.
But before we sort of skipped over the story before.
Sorry, guys.
What do you think of the two alien things on the? Like, seriously, jokes aside, what do you think the thing that slid in the snow is?
The thing that's in the snow could be either bluntly, it's a UFO, isn't it, or certainly a crashed UFO because it's unidentified. It doesn't look. It didn't look much like a rock from the pictures I saw.
No.
It looked like it had stuff on it.
And it had a sort of bulbous end to it.
It did.
That looked a bit like a dart or an arrow or a penis.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So-
maybe the wings were smashed off as it clipped the rocks and then went down into the snow.
Yeah, who knows? But it could have been something Solar Warden.
And how about the orb? Do you think that's just a visual?
It's interesting. It was found on Google Earth, unless they just put it in to troll people.
Who knows? Who knows? With this stuff being linked by,
And there's
linked
a
by
lot
the
of-
Pentagon, it means that there's some validity to this stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting aliens soon. I do.
Are we being prepped?
Yeah. Although, in all fairness, both articles were featured in the Daily Star. And as much as we love the Star,
but is there something to it? The fact that they're not in ufologist, conspiracy theory type, it's not being specifically aimed at those people. It's being put in the most common denominator newspaper. Who goes to the Daily Star? It's your taxi. No, I'm massively stereotyping. But it's your working class
builder, taxi driver,
Yes.
labourer, road worker.
Yes. So why is this information being aimed at your average man? And not aimed at your usual UFO lover, people like us, basically.
Yeah, next to the tits. That's exactly where it is. It's next to the tits.
Tits and aliens.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true.
Well, it sells papers as well.
Yeah.
Interesting
It's
stories.
to sell papers, yeah, but also they're prepping your average. Because people like us can be like, we fucking knew it.
Yeah.
Like, and actually, this isn't as weird as some of the shit we've read.
Yeah, I mean, the Pentagon one is in the New York Times.
Yeah.
Probably the most important newspaper in the world.
Yeah, certainly one of them up there. I'm trying to think of another, but I can't at the minute.
Hey, Louie, have you read what it says in the goddamn New York Times? Frickin' aliens, man!
It just seems as if people just didn't seem to respond to it.
Hey, yeah, I know, Louis. Frickin' Mexicans. They're all the Mexicans.
No, not Mexicans! Actual fucking aliens, man! Little fucking green man!
I started to sound like Macho Man.
Oh yeah, when the aliens come down,
Oh, he would just elbow drop them from the top.
I will lay you on the mat. 1, 2, 3. Elizabeth!
Sorry. Sorry.
R.I.P.D. Randy Savage.
Oh, what a guy. And what a name. Come on.
Yeah.
For fuck's
Yeah, man.
sake.
Yeah, it's great.
Randy doesn't mean the same thing in America as it does here, but anyone who puts Savage as their surname and then Randy in front of it.
And Macho Man.
That's it, just to drive the point home.
If you didn't realize I'm kind of a man.
You should think that maybe that's some kind of rapist name, though. I don't know.
We're all Randy Savages at nature. At the
We
end
all
of the
have
day.
been at some point.
We're all, nothing wrong with being a Randy Savage. So yeah, we've gone from aliens, Pentagon to Macho Man, and that's why I love this podcast.
Yay! And we are.
Any more news?
Yeah.
Can I go for a piss because we're 40
That's also why I love this
That's some
podcast.
news. This is like the extent of weird news.
This just in, Ben Carter of the podcast Apocalypse Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse is in desperate need of a piss. And I'm making it last longer by still talking. Press pause.
We're back.
Hello.
How do?
You never knew we were gone, did you?
Okay, next piece of news. Vatican launches exorcism course to battle threefold surge in demonic possession.
Oh,
Wow.
didn't we feature on this a couple of weeks
It was
ago?
an island,
keeps
yeah.
coming
An island.
back up. This keeps coming up. There's a rise in quote-unquote possessions.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of that?
The Vatican is introducing exorcism training for Italian priests to cope with the surge in demand for the expulsion of evil spirits. Requests have tripled of late.
Oh wow. Well, there you go. I'd love to do one. That'd be awesome.
What do you
And
guys...
obviously I can't because I don't believe in God. So, but
What
you
do
know,
you think of it? Well,
I think it's mental illness. I just think people.
I was going to say, is mental illness and attention seeking on the rise?
Yeah. Yeah. You know
Well,
what,
it
Gaz?
is. I
Funnily
know it
enough,
is.
I think it might be.
It says here the occult market in Italy is booming according to a
Fucking-
2017 consumer report which claims 13 million people turn to psychics and pseudo-healers annually.
Yeah, what do you expect when you've got a very Catholic country? Just fuels Catholicism's like the most superstitious out of all the Christian bits, isn't it? Of all the Christian denominations.
You know what I think it is? I think they're losing business to these psychics and pseudo-healers.
Yeah, of course it is. They're fucking. You got the old.
Well, the church used to have a fucking iron grip on that shit,
Yeah,
didn't it?
you had a monopoly on made-up
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I
I thought you were on the fence, Mike.
Not with
I
fucking
am,
religion.
I am, but, you know...
Oh no, you're on the fence. Let's be specific. I'm not putting words in your mouth. What's your mind? What's your line? Don't put anything in my mouth. But, I don't think you're on the fence about religion. You're on the fence about God.
Yeah.
The concept of God,
The
but
concept
actual
of a God.
dogmatic fucking Catholic, whatever religions.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, a god could be a 13-year-old girl, an alien girl,
Steady.
using our planet as a project. A universe as a
There's
project.
a
Science project.
Yeah, we don't know.
Like
that Rick and Morty episode where Rick's car is powered by another civilization in a cube who are like constantly treading on two paddles, and they have to do it. They're told that if they do it for an hour a day, everyone does it for an hour a day.
In the multiverse,
then it will give them all the power they ever need. Well, it does, but it also gives them so much power. It powers Rick's flying saucer.
Yeah.
But then the scientist in the battery universe creates a smaller universe, another universe inside it, who he tells him to do something else to power his universe.
Well, that's
So
the
we could be a
multiverse.
universe in a universe. Yeah, so it's multiverse.
Everything you could possibly imagine. In my I'm trying to start a cult called the Church of Insignificance, and
Hang on, I'm trying to start a cult.
yes.
Can I be one of the head people of this cult
You may-
along
well,
with you?
I've
'Cause
written-
I think this is a great money spinner.
I've written a 5,000-word manifesto.
How much time do you have on your hands?
Hey, I have a full-time job.
So do I, but I don't have time to write 5,000-word manifestos.
It's easy, you just
in
sit
between
down.
masturbating and playing Football Manager.
You're serious? You wrote a 5,000
I wrote a
manifesto?
5,000-word manifesto, of which I will share with you guys. And basically, my idea in the Church of Insignificance is to try and teach your average person who's never thought of these sort of things that not only are you insignificant in your own actual life, but you add on to that infinite number of infinite universes, and fuck me, you're insignificant. We need a new word. So, there's no point being stressed out about what your boss said, or what your sister said, or something, because you're literally smaller than a gnat's testicle, even smaller than that. Anyway, one of the lines from my manifesto that I'm proud of is, if you're next time you find yourself being jealous of your neighbour's flashy car, right? Just think to yourself, not only in one of the multiverses is there a universe where he was definitely run over by his own car. It gets better. There's also a universe where his car became sentient, transferred its own consciousness into the body of a giant cybernetic gorilla, and fucking raped your neighbour to death. So rather than being jealous and coveting his new BMW, just be content in the knowledge that somewhere in the multiverse he's taking gorilla cock like a champ. So don't be jealous of him. So yeah, join my if you go to my Facebook page, there's a link to buy the 5,000-word manifesto, or if you don't want to buy the paper physical copy with original artwork on front and back by me, you can download the PDF for free.
Are you plugging your cult on our
Yes!
I can see this is going to end with Gaz taking a lot of LSD.
But this
Start
is
wearing sunglasses all the time, even at night, and then forming his own town, his own community in a remote South African country called Gaz Town.
Yeah.
Before telling everyone to drink the flavouring.
No,
This is where this is going.
No, this is the beauty of my cult, is...
No, because you're
No,
not off your
listen.
face on LSD.
No.
You don't even know what's going on.
This is the difference. My cult is not... We're never going to have to meet up and have a... All I want my
Do you
cult
have
is
to
about...
chop your cock off?
No, all my cult to join, all you have to do is read the manifesto and accept your own insignificance, and that's all you got to do. I don't want to meet up. I don't actually talk to you or have contact with humans. Ew. I want just to
So
fucking...
it's like an open university
Yes.
of a cult.
Yes.
Yeah, but don't...
Boom.
But it's tax-free. Why aren't you taking advantage of the fact people may send you money?
If they buy the fucking physical copy, I
And
will
how
be
much-
making
and
fucking
how much
money.
does the physical copy cost?
£2.50. I haven't set up. I haven't.
Something spiritually significant for £2.50.
Yes. I haven't set up the website yet. Although, if you do go to www.lulu.com/mindfuck, you will get a link, and the manifesto is called "How to Survive a Fist Fight Down Mindfuck Alley." The cult is called the Church of Insignificance. Sorry, boys, I've hijacked the podcast.
Have you indoctrinated Lulu as well?
How can you do that, Gaz? It's a national treasure.
It's also a self-publishing service. So, once I've got a Facebook page and that, I will take up more of the boys' time to promote it some more next week. So thanks, lads.
Well, I don't think any more weird news can beat that. The fact that you started your own
Gaz is
cult.
now a cult leader.
Maybe if I asked you guys nicely, you'd let me read some of the manifesto.
I'll read it first. I'd say
We're going to vet this shit.
Yeah. Because I'm not being held responsible for people running off to join your cult in Gaztown.
Accept your insignificance. And send me £2.50. So.
Don't send him £2.50 until we vetted it.
Don't ruin my business practices.
We do not endorse this cult.
Hey! You haven't even read it yet. They will endorse it.
Depends how many beers you're willing to buy me.
Fucking, it's a good manifesto. 5,000 words.
The thing is manifesto.
Yeah, sounds important, doesn't it?
It does, but it also sounds like something a crazy person wrote.
Fuck you. People write manifestos who aren't crazy. I think.
Politicians write manifestos, guys. They're all fucking sociopaths.
Hey, I get sad when animals get hurt. I'm not a path. I'm not a socio. I'm not a psycho. I'm not one of the paths. Or a psychopath. That's a shit old British joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to start an innocent cult. Okay. So, are we done with the news, do we reckon, boys?
Yeah. So, demonic possession on the rise. There you go.
Yeah. It certainly is. And is it time for our regular weekly feature?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
What's in the reggae box, Ben?
Yeah.
Here's the theme song.
Give me your gun. Come on over there. Put the gun down. I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box? Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the
fucking box? Give me the gun.
I just told you.
You lied!
What is in the reggae box, Ben?
This week I'm putting Nigel Farage in the reggae box.
Hey!
Because I love
anyone who doesn't know,
he's a failed right-wing politician in Britain who tried to get into Parliament 7 times and failed every time. He was former head of UKIP, former Tory hedge fund banker, multi-millionaire, yet man of the people.
He's a millionaire.
Multi-millionaire.
Fuck.
Although he claims he's broke, I very much doubt it. He's a gammon-faced fuckweasel. But
yeah, man, the people as he's pictured in that gold elevator with Trump.
Well, recently he's tonguing Trump's backside a lot. And while I understand this may not be popular with everyone who listens to this podcast, I'm not sure if we've got any Farage fans or not. I'd probably assume not. But if you are, you may get slightly irate, so don't contact me because I really can't be arsed to point out what a cunt he is to you. Yeah, it's Rage Against the Machine. He's launched himself a podcast and it's called Farage Against the Machine.
Which, to give him credit, is a good fucking title if your name is Farage.
It's a good pun.
Begrudgingly, credit to him, but...
Famous English patriot with a Belgian name.
But what of the band who it's a
Has he got
play
a
on?
Spanish wife, is he?
Yeah, German wife.
Yeah.
Hey, she's
Who
very
he paid
efficient.
a lot of money to be his assistant.
She gives a very functional but efficient blowjob. It's
I
not
think-
necessarily
I think he
pleasurable,
was,
but you come on time
I
every
think he was
time.
actually shagging a Spanish bird on the side, building bridges with Europe or trying to destroy them. But anyway, yeah, Rage Against the Machine called him they said, obviously they weren't very happy about the pun on their name, because they said, well, we've been fighting against this kind of, and I'm going to quote, piss weasel.
Yeah, what a quote.
That just sums him up completely, doesn't it?
Piss weasel.
You don't know who Farage is, just think piss weasel, and you've got him.
Yeah. And so yeah, he's in the reggae box this week, guys. Yeah, he's got him.
Good.
Also, if he wants a fist fight, I'll meet him outside the Elephant Castle in Dawley, 11 o'clock Friday night.
Wow, you've given up on the actual official, bout in the town hall where we'll sell tickets. Now
That's
you're
Alex
just
Jones.
literally. Oh, that's Alex Jones.
That's Alex
Farage,
Jones.
you just want to street fight that son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know what rules are for
This reminds me of Rocky. The only good bit in Rocky
It's
5.
the fight, yeah.
No, it's the it is the fight, but right at the end. I mean, that film's dog shit, but right at the end, they're in the bar, and Rocky offers him a fight, and the promoter, the Don King character, jumps in. The Don King character jumps in and says, "Only in a ring. Tommy Gunn only fights in a ring." And what does Rocky say? "My ring's outside." Whoa, yeah! And then they go partying out the bar, and there's a big street fight. So that's going to be you and Farage. I'm down for that. And then, before you even get outside, though, I'm going to say though, before you even get outside, so he's like, "Oh right, then yeah, I'll bloody jolly fight you in the street." And while he's on his way out the door with his back to you, that's when you plunge the broken pint glass through the back of his neck, and it comes out his throat, and he just fucking bleeds out right there in the doorway.
I have to go through his heart though to make sure, because
okay.
he is probably a reptilian.
Remove the head.
That'll come after. As soon as he's through the heart, that'll take him down, and then.
Yeah, so fuck you, Farage.
I was going to hit him over the back with a chair or something, so you go further than I am.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it last.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And he probably doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah, I guess I don't really want to kill him unless the revolution comes.
Oh,
I mean, allegedly.
Just a normal fist fight.
I'm on dangerous territory there. Yeah, just a fist fight outside a pub.
When the revolution comes and he's up for crimes against the British people, then you can do what you want.
Right, well, he's mine then.
I listened to really pathetic...
I'll do it in the gladiatorial arena we'll set up.
I listened to this audio documentary today about this group of people who I wish I could remember their name, but they're sort of using the Magna Carta to peacefully resist the government. They claim that the government is, and the Queen and all her associates are unlawful because of some clause in the Magna Carta, and 40 of them, wow, marched to a police station and were like, "We want you to arrest the names on this list because they're traitors." And a couple was like, "Yeah, all right, and you leave that with me." And yeah, well, thanks for coming. Thanks for contribution. And yeah,
he's really thinking, "Oh, how much paperwork I'm gonna fucking fill out now."
They didn't get far, and apparently there's a lot of counter people that say they're misunderstanding the Magna Carta. They're interpreting it in their sort of way. But anyway, yeah, it's apparently
interesting.
We can overthrow the government, apparently, maybe.
Well,
but more than 40 of us need to turn up to a police station in Birmingham.
That's like the old Thor Ragnarok with that stone bloke. And
Fuck, that film's good.
I watched it again Friday.
God, it's good.
It is fun.
It's amazing.
And you're not even going to watch the previous ones, you can just get into it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the second Thor movie because I heard it was dog shit.
It's not dog shit, but it's not.
I've seen that, yeah.
It's not that good, but it's not dog shit.
I didn't really like the first one, to be fair. I don't think his individual films are better than when he's part of the Avengers.
There's no Marvel film that I dislike. They're just on different levels of like. There's none that I dislike actively at all, to be honest. But that's me. Shall we get into this week's meat and taters?
Let's call a pause though, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I should have gone before.
Oh, pause.
So we're back, and so we'll move on to the main thrust of this week. Woof.
Thrust.
R.I.P.D. Rick Mayo, who would have been 60 this week as we record. Basically, the 2008 banking crash and conspiracies were in thereof.
The global banking conspiracy.
Okay. Right, so basically, it's the biggest financial crash since 1929, which is, of course, is Black Monday. And it's not actually true, is it, that the stockbrokers are throwing themselves at the window?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Is it? I thought that was a myth.
No,
it
was.
a legend.
People lost all their money, all their fortunes, yeah.
Wow. Anyway, Lehman Brothers, who was thought a major American bank, went bankrupt. Merrill Lynch, AIG, they sponsor Man United, don't they?
They do.
Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, HBOS, the Royal Bank of Scotland, Bradford and Bingley, Fortis, Hypo, and Alliance and Leicester were all bailed out by respective governments. Ireland's banking system went completely tits up. Iceland jailed all theirs, though.
They did. Do you know that 3 private banks were allowed, after deregulation, Iceland, to borrow a sum more than 10 times the global GDP of Iceland?
Fuck.
Yeah, that's why they went belly up.
Didn't they? It all kind of. Although the American banks did go when they went, and ours, a couple of ours as well, massively. The Iceland, it first kind of kicked off in Iceland, didn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And because that Icelandic guy, owned West Ham, didn't he?
I've got no idea.
Yeah, he bought West Ham. He was an Icelandic billionaire, and he lost all his money and the club went belly up. They went down.
Well, even somebody who's as I would say numerically illiterate as myself can understand the simple principle of if you borrow more than you can afford to pay back, you go bankrupt. I personally have experience of borrowing more than I could afford to pay back and dealing with the consequences. So I don't know what Iceland were expecting really, or anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How could you borrow more than you can afford to pay back? You start to lose your possessions.
You're
then.
gambling.
And eventually you lose your freedom.
There was, there's one. I'll give you a little stat actually about one bank if I can find it. Yeah, it was the Carlyle Group.
Yeah.
They admitted their funds couldn't repay their debts, and for every $1 of equity, they had $32 worth of debt. So that's what you're looking at there. 32 times what you've got.
Leverage of 32 times, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into all the heavy shit, let me read you a poem.
All right.
You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
It was written by the famous poet called Iron Maiden from the early 2000s about this crash. I'd prefer to just play the fucking song because it's amazing and it won a Grammy.
Wow.
The only one they've ever had, if I remember right. Gotta tell you a story on a cold winter's night. You'll be sailing for glory before you know what is right. So come on over here now, I've got a vision for you. It's my personal snake oil, it's just something I do. I'm the jester with no tears, and I'm playing on your fears. I'm a trickster smiling underneath the mask of love and death, the eternal lie I've told about pyramids of gold. I've got you hooked at every turn, your money's left to burn. You'll be wanting a contract, you'll be waiting a while. I'd like to give you my contact, but that isn't my style. Well, you only get one chance, and it's too good to miss. If I didn't lie to you, then I wouldn't exist. Greed, lust, and envy, pride, it's just the same old ride. The smoke and mirrors visions that you see are just like me. I'm a clever banker's face with just one letter out of place. I know someone just like you, know someone just like me. Eldorado, come and play. Eldorado, step this way. Take a ticket for the ride. Eldorado, streets of gold. See, my ship is oversold. You get one last chance to try. So gone is the glory and gone is the gold. Well, if you knew the story, how come it has to be told? You could say I'm a devil and I wouldn't say no. But out here on the dark side, hey, on with the show. So then my tale is told, big and bad and twice as bold. The ship of fools is sinking and the cracks begin to grow. There is no easy way for an honest man today, which is something you should think of as my lifeboat sails away.
Ah.
So essentially, yeah, snake oil salesman, promises, greed.
Yep.
We're the fools.
Pyramids of gold.
Who get on the sinking ship that's already fucking pissing with water. Like I fucking alluded to, I don't mind giving personal details here on the cast. Not too personal, but yeah. I am one of the fools who went for the ship of gold. I borrowed all the money. I spent all the fucking money.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I had a fucking good time spending that money.
It is nice to have that big
wage,
isn't it? And
then they came calling. Then they wanted their money back. And they lent me way more than I could afford to feasibly pay back.
Well, should we go into how this all works then?
Fuck them! Tell me! Why did they ruin me?
This is called fractional reserve banking, what the banks use, okay? So basically, they get 9 times the original deposit they create.
Okay.
Okay? So the Fed, or the central bank, buys government debt in exchange for a cheque.
Right.
Okay, the Fed deposits the money in private banks.
Okay.
So banks only have to keep 10% in reserve. So for every billion, they create 9 billion by loaning out.
So they loan out 9 times what they get in.
Basically, yeah.
So yeah, all right, okay. So there's money they haven't got.
Which is why they could afford to transfer me money that never existed and say, have at it.
Yeah, it's just numbers on a screen,
but then,
isn't it?
The money I give back to them does fucking exist, though. Well, it exists if I draw it out.
It exists to you because you drew it out and physically had the cash in your hand.
Then it exists. Yeah.
Then it exists, doesn't it?
Yeah.
what they're transferring to you is electronic numbers, which you're then converting into currency, which isn't really anything worth anything at that point.
Should we let Ike explain?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just counterbalance.
Hang on, aren't I more rational than David Icke?
I've got one very tiny quote, 2 sentences for Mr. Wright. This is from the founder of the Bank of England, William Paterson, who said, "The bank hath benefit of interest on all monies which it creates out of nothing."
Yep.
The fucking founder said that. So, what's Ike's baby saying?
I don't know, just before we start, Saint Ike's got a look on his face at the start of this video like he's really seen something he doesn't like.
Or he's squeezing one out.
I think he's just seen like someone holding a sign up saying, "You're a prick, Ike."
Constipation face, that is, to me.
He's definitely not happy about
You know what I
something.
learned about Ike this week, though? Sorry, derailing us already, but I didn't realise, because he doesn't mention this in his books, he's a fucking massive bigamist, and like, oh no, bigamy is when you marry more than one in it. He wasn't a bigamist. No, not a bigamist. Don't sue me, you weird-handed freak, saint freak.
Allegedly.
He had a lot of wives and girlfriends at the same time who were all in knowledge of each. He's a freaky mofo, is what I'm saying.
He's trying to put it about.
He's
the Messiah.
He's an Aleister Crowley-esque shagger, is what I'm saying.
He's not up to Crowley's level.
No, there's no goats. That was an overstatement. So what's he saying about banking?
I bet he ain't snorting cocaine out of a goat's anus.
It's not just Ike, it's another suave gentleman.
Are you calling Ike suave?
No, another suave gentleman that you'll see and hear in a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting how few questions we actually ask about very everyday things, like when we go into a bank and we ask for a loan, say $50,000, £50,000, what actually happens? You see, most people live their lives based on a kind of vague image of what happens. What actually happens is you ask for £50,000, they type into your account £50,000. That's all they do. They don't mint any coins, they don't print any money, they don't move any precious metal anywhere. They just put £50,000 into your account on a computer screen. From that moment, you start paying interest on money that has never, does not, and will never exist.
Yeah, he's spot on.
It turns out that banks actually have about 9 times as much money loaned out as they have on reserve in their vaults. This is possible because of what's referred to as fractional reserve lending. The way it works is that the Federal Reserve, or the central bank in any country, is legally allowed to determine the amount a bank must have on reserve. In the U.S., it's currently around 10%. So if you deposit $10,000 into the bank sets aside 10%, or $1,000, and then loans out the rest of your money. The way it works is, say another person comes into the bank and asks for a car loan of $9,000. At this moment, the bank loans out the $9,000 from your original deposit. It isn't there anymore. The borrower then pays the person selling the car, and they go deposit the money into another bank, which is part of the same central banking system. This $9,000 is treated as a new deposit, and the process continues. The money gets redeposited and reloaned until the initial deposit of $10,000 becomes $100,000. The banking system just created $90,000 by loaning out your money. Apparently it began with the goldsmiths in the 17th century, when people were trading in gold. Gold was heavy to carry around, so people stored the actual metal in vaults and traded receipts instead. Those receipts were the first paper money. Since only a few people would withdraw their gold at any given time, the vault owners, basically the new bankers, began creating receipts for more metals than they actually held. They loaned out those receipts and charged interest on money, gold, that they didn't really have. That's how our so-called fractional reserve system was born. In this system, the bankers get to make up money out of nothing, while the rest of us have to work hard to earn it. It has created a modern form of serfdom where the mass of society is now working to pay off their debt to the banks.
think that's a good quote by Henry Ford. Anyone come across that one?
No, but I know about him. He was a Nazi piece of shit.
In 1922, apparently, he said, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning."
Hang on.
Have you got that?
This just shows you the where you should check everything, because I've got that same quote. The website I got it from attributes the quote to Andrew Jackson, former president. The full quote he says is, and he was writing to, according to the site I went to, writing to a group of investors who were asking him, trying to persuade him to renew their charter. He said, quote, "You are a den of vipers. I intend to rout you out, and by the eternal God I shall rout you out. If the people only understood the rank injustice of our money and banking system, there would be a revolution before morning." So no, either Henry Ford said it or the president said it.
Well, I actually heard it wasn't Henry Ford, it was a senator speaking about it, quoting an earlier Ford reference in a book, which is similar.
Okay. Well, maybe it's a similar turn of phrase, but
anyway,
you
it's
get
a good
the fucking
quote. Anyway,
gist. You get the gist. If your average man in the street had a true understanding of the fictional money situation,
because that was quite mental.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
So basically, a bank is given £1 billion,
and they can loan out
another 9 billion on top of that through fractional reserve banking. And where do all the loans go in the end?
To people who can't afford to pay.
Well, personal loans. To get a personal loan, you have to secure your own.
Yeah, what happens when you loan out though, and you pay back? You pay back to the bank.
Yeah.
So the bank is getting $10 billion per $1 billion for free.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's all going to come back. Okay, and then there's interest on top of that. They charge interest. Yeah. So they get all that money back, Gaz.
Yeah.
Where does the interest come from?
Well,
it has to come from the existing money supply that wasn't provided by the banks.
Right.
So that's what causes booms and busts.
When that supply.
Yeah, when people can't pay the debts, and then the bad debt gets wiped.
Well, Mr. Ike.
People lose millions, apart from the rich people that can afford to take the impact and then buy up all the small things.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Mr. Ike was the first to describe to me. Not personally, I don't know him. He was the first time I saw the idea of him saying that these crises can be, these financial crises can be induced by the banking system, as to the way he described it, kind of, so nobody can pay for things anymore, property and all that, and then you sort of send out a dragnet then. Then scoots back in all the property and things that can't afford to be paid for, back into the property and control of the bank and these people, and then we wait a few years and start lending it out again.
So how is that actually? So at no point, because they're all making money.
Yeah.
They've just gone, well, that's okay.
Well, they control the governments. They allow it.
Well, yeah, because they're giving the government the money. Because obviously every
they're
government
bribing
loans,
the politicians
every government
to vote for the bills that aid them to continue doing it.
Also, every government loans money. There's not one country in the world that isn't in massive debt to itself.
Imagine I'm the listener now. I'm your average simpleton who doesn't understand. And going back to that video, with the gold.
Yeah.
So you're keeping your gold in one place.
Yeah.
And you're giving paper to represent the gold.
Yeah, but you're selling paper 9 times what you've got in the bank.
It started as a practical thing of like, the gold's hard to move around, here's the paper.
Yeah.
But then they wrote more papers than they did have gold.
Well, it's worth mentioning now, since 1971, when Nixon took to the gold standard, and the Brits followed and everyone else did, that it's a fiat currency now, which means it's not backed by anything. So you can have £1 million in the bank, and it's not. It's only worth what the government tells you it's worth.
Can we define the gold standard then?
Well, in the past, before 1971, you had £1 million in the bank.
Yeah.
You can exchange that for equivalent in gold.
The exact equivalent.
In gold. Everybody could do that.
That's why it's a £1 coin. It used to be £1 in gold.
Right.
But now,
it's a
say for Zimbabwe, when they had hyperinflation, and it cost $1 million Zimbabwean dollars to buy a loaf of bread.
Oh.
They
Oh,
can't
no,
go
same as
and
you-
get.
yeah.
It's a million. The million's not worth $1 million now. It's worth 20p.
That's the same as the Weimar Republic in Germany,
Weimar
which obviously
Republic.
led to the rise of fascism.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's a fucking conspiracy theory.
No, Ben, you're misusing the word fascist. If you don't recognise all the genders, you're a fascist. It's not controlling nations through currency and economics and then wiping out entire races of people. It's not calling me Z if I want to be Z. Fascist!
Oh man. Well, you're still not a fucking transformer.
Hey, fuck you!
More swearing from the podcast that once encouraged one reviewer to say we made him ashamed to be British.
Come on, just
And
practice
of course,
with me.
because the banks. Go on. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, just practice with me.
Lord Megatron.
You can do it. Come on. No?
Fuck
Okay, so tell me
off.
some more banks.
Well, the fact that interest has to come out of the existing money supply, it means that there's an exponential growth on interest. Therefore, a country must continue growing its GDP to pay off the debts because the interest keeps going up.
Or make massive cuts.
Or make massive cuts, And so what happens when a country wants to gain its GDP? It needs to make more resources, it needs to go to war, it needs to claim
Well,
for
it just
someone
needs,
else.
it needs to invest in its infrastructure
Well,
as well, so it needs money to pay for factories and create jobs, etc., etc.
And the US wanted more oil, so they went into Iraq and got it, basically.
And is oil
Allegedly.
kind of now like the gold reserve?
Yeah, it's a petrodollar now, basically,
That's it. That's what I've heard that phrase.
Yeah.
That's what it actually means. That's one of those phrases I've heard
Yeah.
but never truly understood.
Because it's
The
not backed up by
petrodollar.
anything. They use it to trade in
Right.
oil now.
Right.
The Saudis allowed us to do that.
Right. The petrodollar. Wow.
I actually heard
It's
this
a petrodollar.
theory from a guy I used to know many years ago who went to Iraq, and he said he heard...
As a
he was
soldier or on
as a
holiday?
soldier.
Okay.
He's part of my unit, he went to, and he came back and he said he was speaking to some bloke out there who worked for an oil company, because they were escorting the oil workers about, and he said he reckoned the reason that they went to war with Iraq was because Saddam's oil embargo was coming to an end, and they wanted to start trading in euros rather than dollars, which probably would have destroyed the American economy, because Iraq had the world's fourth largest reserve of oil.
Yeah.
And none of it had been touched.
So the US
apart from
currency,
internal consumption, nothing had been exported. Nothing had been used.
But hang on. They said the reason we went over there to fight was because he potentially had, I believe the phrase was WMDs.
Weapons of mass destruction.
That's right. Not because of our entire financial system is based on how much fucking oil we've got.
Yeah, the thing is, it would have wiped out the Saudis, which in turn would have wiped out the Yanks, because the Saudis technically, sorry, I keep saying Yanks, the Americans, isn't 15% of the American economy basically Saudi Arabian? It might be higher than that.
Something like
nowadays.
I don't know, but 7% of the economy is fucking hot dogs. Sorry, we love you.
It's alright, no, it's alright, because our listeners are in San Francisco, where they don't eat all that. They're more spiritual, they're more, organic.
Holistic.
Yes.
Ballistic?
Holistic.
Oh, holistic. Listen, ballistic.
Have you noticed how holistic people have halitosis? Sorry, I'm being fucking ridiculous. That's my attempt at some Dr. Seuss.
Do you want to see the world debt clocks?
Ooh,
hello.
I'm always in favour of a world clock.
These are the world debt clocks of the world.
My personal favourite being oh my god, that's just spinning.
Yeah. And at the top is the USA with 20.8 trillion.
And going up.
And going up every second.
Just to paint
but so is their
picture,
GDP.
Hang on, to paint a picture for the listener. So Mike has brought up this website, which is it literally US.com?
It's the World Debt Clock.
WorldDebtClock.org.
And a USDebtClock.org, but this is the world.
So it has a list of countries with their national debt, and as we are looking at this, each national debt is just flipped. The counter is just going over and over and over and over and over like a stopcock.
It's going about 10 million a second, I'd say.
Wow.
So
I did see a good quote on this though that said, "The world is in however many $1 trillion of debt. Who do we owe it to?
Yeah.
The fucking Decepticons."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Who it?
You're just trying to get the fucking world's
Shut
debt,
up.
aren't you? That's what you're trying to do. I'm a Decepticon. Pay me the money.
Did not.
Is that what you're trying to do?
I did not specify which faction of Transformer. Just because I chose the name Lord Megatron does not mean
I'm
I
assuming
identify with the Decepticons. Don't presume my politics. I'm a Transformer first. My faction comes second. I'm not at liberty to reveal my faction.
Well, yeah.
Got
If you want
any
to enjoy
energy,
your
Hugh?
hair fucking rainbow colours, eh? Just have done with it. Get your nose pierced.
I'm alt-right. I'm not a fucking SJW.
Yeah, you think you wouldn't last 5 minutes in an alt-right meeting if you started coming out saying you identify sexually as a transformer.
I don't sexually identify as a transformer. I have a human girlfriend. I just, in my day-to-day, I'm allowed to identify.
Well,
It's
like
my
Van-
protest against the ridiculousness of people being able to
You
fucking
can't
identify.
stand there as a cult leader and tell me you're identifying as a robot. And
Have
well,
you
he's gonna be a lot
written
of
a
LSD.
5,000-word
He's
manifesto?
going to get a lot of drugs anyway.
Have you written a 5,000-word manifesto? Well, you are not in a
No,
position...
I don't seem to have the time.
You're not in a position to judge my cult.
I haven't read it yet. It could be the insane. It could be the insane scrawlings of a madman.
Well, yeah.
It could be like the nonsense that 5,000 monkeys have typed out and they've just jumbled a few pages together for all we know.
Well, you will reserve
If you
your
wrote I am
judgment.
fish 1,000,000 times.
5,000 times, did a funny little dance and fainted. Yeah. Well, bollocks. Wait till I read your manifestos.
No.
I don't need to write a manifesto.
I am the manifesto.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
I wish I could find the UK on there. Like, oh, there it is. UK.
2.4 trillion.
What we at? Gross domestic product? Oh, 2.6.
Explain that.
So is that good? That's good then.
No.
Well, our GDP is more than our debt. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Explain that. So it says public debt to gross domestic produce ratio 93.339%.
Britain, yeah.
So debt to what we produce. So
we've got 93% of our economy is debt. Yeah, 93%.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Compared to what we actually make, whereas Japan is 248%.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're doing well.
Not really. Not with the debt, is it?
No.
You know.
What do they spend it on though? Because I mean, they haven't really got much of a military. I mean, what
they haven't got a military.
They have a defence force. That's kind of it. They're not
Well, they spend it on social things.
Yeah, but
roads,
tentacle porn,
hospitals,
used panties in vending machines,
cheap sake.
They could spend some of that money on my manifesto. £2.50 a copy. Fuck what these guys say.
Should we go into the history
Fucking
of banking?
Fascists judging me before they read
yes.
it.
It's,
yeah. I've got some of this, haven't you? The history of
I've got a couple of quotes.
I know something about the history of banking. I know that the Templars were the first to introduce Western banks, pretty much. Weren't they?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, you if you wanted to visit Jerusalem, which had been recently taken by one of the Crusades, you put some money in a Templar bank, Knights Templar Bank, branches all over Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you a little note, and then as you went along, you drew money out because pretty much every major city had a Templar, or every city had a Templar church, therefore a bank.
Yeah.
They would give you some gold, and they would write you another note, updating your account. And when you got to the Holy Land, you paid them for protection to get to Jerusalem, so that was more money. And yeah, they basically invented modern banking. They were and then the King of France borrowed a lot of money off them, couldn't pay it back. The Templars are a fucking an episode on their own.
Oh yeah, I'd like to get
but basically, they had some kind of arrangement with the Pope, which possibly could have undermined Western Catholicism. The Pope gave the King of France an order to say declare them excommunicated, and they were wiped out on Friday the 13th. He sent out orders to all his forces across the country. Friday the 13th, you go into these churches, you kill everybody, you take the money. Or you capture or kill everybody. And that's why Friday the 13th is considered unlucky.
Oh, there you go, factoids. Well, I have quite an old quote from Mr. Thomas Jefferson, former US president, because I think from what I was reading today, my history is terrible, but from what I was reading today, I could gather at a very basic level that obviously America was a new country and new things were happening, and it was a sort of chance for everyone to try and start from a fresh start, something new. And this is a quote from Mr. Jefferson. I sincerely believe, with you, that banking establishments are more dangerous than standing armies, and that the principle of spending money to be paid by posterity under the name of funding is but swindling futurity on a large scale. I hope we shall take warning from the example of England and crush in its birth the aristocracy of our moneyed corporations which dare already to challenge our government to a trial of strength and bid defiance to the laws of our country. So straight away from the start,
Yeah.
they were trying to get in, but you had a few good eggs, from what I can work out,
Yeah.
trying on behalf of the people
Yeah.
to generally wrestle some control back. And another brief, I'll do a very quick quote. This is from Nathan Rothschild, and he said this circa 1820. "I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England
I've heard this one,
to
but yeah.
rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls the British Empire, and I control the British money supply." So these motherfuckers, right from the start.
Well, shall we go to the history of the Fed?
The Fed, is
the
that the Federal Reserve?
Yeah,
Right.
that's the third central banking system in the United States. And President Andrew Jackson, that we've touched on.
Well, actually, I
He
googled
vetoed-
that quote, and it's actually Henry Ford, apparently.
Oh, it is Henry
Is it
Ford.
really?
Every Google, all the top Google searches were Henry Ford.
Wow.
President Andrew Jackson vetoed the renewal of the second bank of the US, and he started a period of free banking.
Right,
And
so-
this is what he said in 1832. "Every monopoly and all exclusive privileges are granted at the expense of the public, which ought to receive a fair equivalent. The many millions which this Act proposes to bestow on the stockholders of the existing bank must come directly or indirectly out of the earnings of the American people." So he was against the banking taking control of the money supply.
So yeah, because I mean that fractal banking, well, that's 1832, was it? You said there.
That was, yeah.
Right. So that fractal banking's been going on since the Middle Ages, hasn't it?
Yeah, but
he's saying
at
it's
periods
bad.
in the United States they never had it.
Ah, I see.
They had their own.
And so then the federal
they
bank
created
came
their own
along.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't.
So
That's
what's-
why
there's
he's
no
saying,
need.
That's why
there's
he's
no
saying,
need,
let's learn from
yeah.
England.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
get you, yeah.
need. There's no need to have an intermediary.
No, I see. Yeah. Okay, so he's talking sense.
Yeah, the government can just create its own money. It doesn't need to pay the banks. You know, let them get all the profits. It could go back to the nation.
Yeah.
So this is why he was against it. But the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913, giving the Fed sole responsibility of creating the money supply. Most senators who were against the bill left for Christmas vacation before the vote.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well,
That
dodgy.
sort of shit happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
Very important things get pushed through at like specific times of the year
Yeah.
where there's not a lot of people there.
Well, that's how they
That
think they
happens
got it
today.
through.
Yeah.
And also they tag them on to less like controversial
Yeah.
bills, don't they? So like say some bill that's like, oh, we're gonna fix the roads in so and so, and then they'll tag. Oh, and also there's this little thing attached to it. But you can't vote for the common sense one without voting for the one that's utter lunacy.
I've got a couple of quotes about the bill. Representative Charles Lindbergh Sr., Republican of Minnesota. Wall Street will control the money easily through this bill as they have heretofore. As in 1913.
Is he Charles Lindbergh's dad then, the one that flew
Might
across
be.
the Atlantic?
Might be. And Representative Victor Murdoch, Republican Kansas. I do not blind myself to the fact that this measure will not be effected as a remedy for a great national evil, the concentrated control of credit. So even, you know, people against the bill knew what it was going to do.
Yeah. Fucking hell. So
Yeah.
I'm also mesmerised by those numbers flying up on the screen. I think
It's mental, innit?
yeah. I'm hoping someone's gonna change position.
Oh, it's not in order.
Oh, isn't it?
No.
Oh, right.
Japan's got 12 million.
I was
going to say,
I
if
was
you
so
look at-
mesmerised by watching the numbers going up.
How stupid am I? I can't quite. Is that lower? Is China lower than the US?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, significantly lower, isn't
So on our screen, it's US top and then Japan. Well, actually, Canada. Not too bad, are they?
Argentina in quite a lot. Netherlands.
Oh, Norway. Yeah. You wouldn't think Saudi Arabia would have that much national debt, would you? Oh, mind you, their gross domestic product is fucking huge. It's actually more, isn't it? That's the oil, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
But that's not finding its way back into the pockets of your average bloke, is it?
No.
It's going to the... Yeah, not good.
So, should we go on to the Depression?
1929?
Yeah. 4th of September 1929, there was a major fall in stock prices. Black Tuesday, did you mention that?
I did, yeah. And people throw themselves out
Yeah.
windows.
October 29, worldwide GDP dropped by 15%.
Well, what brought that on? Because they were called the Roaring Twenties. So is this the first encounter the fractal banking system falling on its arse?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because I mean,
booms and busts are built into the system.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen Peaky Blinders. It's the 20s. Yeah. It's the Roaring 20s. Tommy Shelby's making shitloads of money. 1929, boom, it's going to be all gone.
Yeah, it was stock prices, wasn't it? They all fell. Industrial production went down by 46% in the US, and unemployment went up by 607%. And it created the economic conditions for Nazis in Germany as well.
Of course it did, yeah.
So it was pretty shitty.
Those Jews have got all the money. It's their fault that you're so poor.
So the stock market and the bankers created this crash and it destroyed the world.
So is it a possibility that it was all planned out to create the rise of fascism, which
could have been
enough people managed to stand against that time, and then?
Well, obviously we know that
it took a good sort of 29. It took 10 years from the banking crash to the rise of utter fascism, and we've gone.
The Great Depression was 29 to 41.
41? Yeah. Like 41 around the globe, and imagine West economies would have picked up the war production, wouldn't they? So that's the point, isn't it? So we've gone 10 years now in a global recession as such. Although are things any better now? They're a bit better than they were.
A little bit better. Should we go through the 2008? I've got it in detail if you want.
I've got a very brief timeline I can go through from an article from the Guardian.
Go on then, you go through it.
So first entry, and this is the 9th of August 2007, when BNP Paribas freeze their funds knowing they have no way of valuing assets.
Right.
Then R1, Northern Rock. I forgot about Northern Rock.
Yeah.
And that was a start of it.
Sponsor Newcastle.
They did. And then had to withdraw.
That's all I remember.
Yeah, they borrowed large sums of money to fund mortgages for customers. This is the 14th of September 2007. They're told they need to pay off debt by reselling or scrutinising those mortgages in the international capital markets. Sadly, the demand for that had fallen, and they went into liquidation. They couldn't. They were prompting customers to queue around the block to withdraw their savings. It's the first run on a British bank for 150 years.
I remember it, yeah.
I remember all the news stories of because I remember being confused, but I'm still confused to be fucking perfectly honest with you. But I kind of understand it. But I remember all the news stories of people queued around the block. That's an American thing. Queued around the street, trying to draw their money out before the bank went under.
Remember, this is Britain, and some people just queue for anything.
Well, some people were just walking past them like, sorry.
And
even a queue.
There's something good worth queuing for. I'm doing that queue.
Yeah. And we know that banks only have 10% of their reserves, so they couldn't pay everybody. They didn't have the money.
And everybody tried to get it out at once.
I seem to recall they had like a 50 quid limit at the counter, something like that.
Something like that, yeah, to make sure everyone got a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'd like to think I bank with well, I'm not going to say it. I bank with one of the big boys. I'd like to hope that the same thing couldn't happen to them, but of course, in theory, it absolutely could, couldn't it?
Yeah, of course it could. It came from the subprime mortgages, didn't it?
But this is what I kind of get that. They lent out more than they've got. But this is where I'm a little bit confused. Before we move on to 2008, sorry, let's get back to that last depression.
Yeah.
This is where I'm confused. If this is all how are they benefiting from the economy being in recession for 10 years? Surely if companies are booming and everyone's selling and shifting money around, everyone's making more money.
Yeah.
How do the powers that be...
Because the people that are the richest... Yeah, they just hold on to their stuff. They're able to absorb...
Take the loss,
There's a 15% drop in GDP. What's 15% if you're a multi-billionaire?
Yeah.
It's nothing, but if you're on scraps and you're...
Using 15% of your wage...
You know what I mean? You can't afford to eat. There's a big difference.
Absolutely.
So they just wait until everybody crashes or everyone goes bankrupt. They just buy up all the property.
Like we said before, the dragnet that they throw out.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's why it was in their interest for it to be in a recession for...
Yeah, that's why the system of boom and bust.
Yeah, so hey, hang on though. So I remember Gordon Brown. I remember. I remember
the end of boom and bust.
This is the end of boom and bust politics. Well, he was full of shit then, wasn't he?
Well, to be fair though...
And he called that old lady a bigot.
He did, yeah.
I forgot what she was moaning about now.
Oh, fuck, gives a fuck. She was a bigot.
You got criticised for that as well.
Of course he did. I thought that was very harsh, his criticism of that. I mean...
Yeah, so after the Depression, the US government they installed an act called the Glass-Steagall. Anyone ever heard of that?
No.
It basically removed it put a separation between investment and depository banks.
Okay.
So your bank that you bank with couldn't go speculating on the futures market with your money.
Right.
Yeah, it was only investment banks that did that.
I got you. So if you put the money in, you're taking the risk. If you just want your wages going in, it's there.
It's just a steady bank. A bank could only loan money out. You know, it couldn't go and gamble away your money, basically. But in 1999, Bill Clinton repealed that act.
Oh, not Slick Willie.
Yeah, Slick Willie. So
Let's face it, though. What he did with that cigar was pretty cool, wasn't it?
It depends if he lit it afterwards.
Yeah, he smoked it.
Oh, good on him. That's pretty gangster.
You know, used it as a sex aid, and then.
So now Northern Rock
I'm down with that.
and all these banks can go speculate in your money, Gaz.
Right. But previously they weren't allowed. Are they allowed now?
Probably.
Well, let's be fucking
Yeah.
perfectly honest. They're not making it.
They are.
I don't have enough money for them to fucking.
Well, that's America. I don't know about here, but I assume it's the same sort of thing. You know, and all this came from Milton Friedman and the Chicago School of Economics and free market capitalism. Ronald Reagan, Maggie Thatcher. Yeah, they thought free market capitalism, the only responsibility of business is to maximise profit. Businesses shouldn't be regulated, and everything should be run by private business.
So you're saying we shouldn't have that statue of Maggie?
And they deregulated everything, including the financial markets.
So basically, to keep this in with a conspiracy theme, the politicians in charge, who are probably being paid off by the banks big time, are making it easier for the banks to loan out everyone else's money.
Yeah, and bet on it and
do whatever they want. And gamble
these things called
and
derivatives.
And make insane bets while taking massive profits for themselves.
Introduce derivatives. So me and Ben, I bet on Ben that he's gonna lose money. Gaz will then bet on my bet that you'll lose money. Someone will bet on Gaz's bet against my bet against your bet. That goes on, and that was been happening with mortgages. So people were selling mortgages, and people were betting on the outcome of their mortgages.
Oh.
So once one goes, the whole fucking chain of derivatives. Everyone. That's what the crash. That's what happened.
And I did hear something interesting. Mr. Madoff, Bernie, because that's what he was into when he's one of the few cases of a white-collar criminal who was actually pursued and prosecuted because rich people lost money because of that cunt. Not just your average man in the street, but actual fucking wealthy people lost money because of him. So that's why he...
So that's more important.
Of course, because you can't have wealthy people losing money. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, yes, I've still got 3 houses, but I lost 6, man. There used to be 9.
I used to have 16 Ferraris. Now I've only got 8. What's going on?
So Madoff paid for his crimes, but the people who rip off, because I'm sure there was, for every wealthy person who lost money in that bubble bursting, there was a way more common man in the street who lost everything.
Oh, thousands of people lost their homes.
Yeah, and they're not compensated.
Because they're giving loans to people that couldn't afford it. So they go to you. Yeah, give you like you can have a £250,000 home. Don't worry about Don't worry about it.
I mean,
but there's a positive.
Sorry. I've got a quote here from Sandra Mitchell, a nurse, and he lost a home in 2008 until the Boston Community Capital stepped in. The house cost $312,000, and we borrowed the whole amount.
Right.
Now nowadays in this country, I applied for a mortgage a few months back, and they said to have I could have a 15% mortgage.
Yeah.
On my wage.
Right.
That is nothing compared to $312,000 for a house. And we borrowed the whole. In 2008, my husband lost his job, and we couldn't keep up with the mortgage payments. We asked them about modifying the loan, but they didn't want to work anything out because they didn't want to admit to them that they weren't going to pay that mortgage, so the whole chain would have fell apart. People were betting on they couldn't pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
So fuck. But there is so there is a positive side to this. I never got a mortgage, but all the money I borrowed.
I mean, that wasn't 15%. Sorry, 45%.
Oh,
sorry,
Jesus.
45% on top of my wages. I could have had.
Well, I got in a lot of debt, which I'll never pay. Well, I'm paying back at a pathetic rate now. But basically, I took their money, and I didn't get a house. I didn't get anything that they could take from me. I spent it. I went to Italy 10 times in 2 years. I did a lot of drugs and a lot of hookers. And so, yeah.
And that's
you know,
why you're a resident drug-addled,
Hey,
possibly
and
transmitted infection disease.
And the best thing is, it wasn't high-class hookers and good quality drugs. It was cheap Polish speed and the kind of girls who probably, in all fairness, should have been paying me. I mean, some of their genitals were in such bad condition that you could have used the vagina lips to reupholster a 3-piece suite. But, hey, they'll never get that money back. And they can't take my house because I don't fucking own one. Can't take my car. It's a company vehicle. Yeah. Fuck you. So yeah, sorry. That's my personal.
And what they did.
But do that on a grand scale, though. You see, the money they lent me, they're not losing out because it never existed in the first place. They froze the interest on it once you go through the channels and say, hey, he can't pay this, blah, blah, blah. But if I secured that money against a physical fucking building, car, you know, then they can come and take it.
That's it,
so that's what happens. Like the quote you've just read, that poor couple, not their fault. But with you now, since this crash now, like it's affecting you though.
$312,000. How much the bloody payment on that? I mean,
but you see now how it's affecting you though. You're not. You don't have a bad credit or whatever. I'm presuming. I'm guessing. But anyway,
it's all right.
You were told 45%. That's you see what I'm trying to say?
That was because I was being given a fucking massive down payment as well. My dad was going to lend me the money for the down payment. I would have paid him back at a much smaller
still
rate.
45%.
It was kind of going against my inheritance. In a way, he was like investing in my future because I would also have a flat and a house.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I would almost be a property magnate.
Really? But that...
So yeah, so
them offering you that high rate, though, is a backlash against the fuck-up that they've done in
because if I lose my job...
Yeah, then what happened?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
So can I go to...
So those banksters are standing their bad behaviour...
Think about it. We bailed them out.
Yeah,
in the US, they bailed them out by $700 billion.
And that bad behaviour, though, is now... stopping Ben, or not stopping you, but it's offering you.
If I didn't have that deposit, they wouldn't have given me one.
Exactly, and that's through no fault of fucking yours. That's through them trying to repair previous bad behaviour, isn't it? Or my misunderstanding?
Yeah, pretty much.
Regulations are tighter
now. Or make more on my. Or borrow more on the money they're giving me and the money I'm giving them,
and I know we sound old or whatever, but I'm sure parents. Well, the only reason my parents own a property is because back when they went to get a mortgage, it was something like a 5% deposit.
I think my parents bought their first.
I think their property literally was less than £5,000. I think, which they ended up selling for a lot more than that. Fuck, and none of it is real.
No, just think inflation on top of that.
Yeah.
Every year things get more and more expensive. Whereas the banks can do the deals early, they don't have to pay the inflation. It's a scam. It's just a scam. It's a big Ponzi scheme. It's a big pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
And people don't
No, 15 million job losses worldwide since 2008. This has caused. And do you know what happened to the CEOs of the major investment firms?
They got rich.
Millions in bonuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, our governments bail out the bankers to pay their bonuses.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can go to we're going to skip back to the time on a second. 17th of February 2008. 2 private takeover bids in Northern Rock have failed. Alistair Darling, who was our what they call him, Exchequer, nationalising Northern Rock. It'll be a temporary measure. It's nearly 4 years before it returns to the private sector. So we were paying their bonuses for 4 years as taxpayers.
And then we sold it at a loss, didn't we?
That was RBS as well.
RBS.
Yeah. We probably did sell it at a loss. So when they're cutting the NHS, so they're cutting someone's benefits.
Yeah.
That's because we're bankrolling millions of pounds in bonuses to bankers who've already failed once.
What does the Chancellor of the Exchequer do?
He's the guy who works at the budget, isn't he?
Yeah. Because I have a quote from Reginald McKenna, who was the Chancellor of the Exchequer in 1924.
Ooh.
And he said, this was in a private letter to somebody else, I am afraid that the ordinary citizen would not like to be told that the banks can and do create money, and they who control the credit of a nation direct the policy of the government and hold in the hollow of their hands the destiny of the people. That's the fucking chance. Wow. So he knew. They all know anyone who gets in. But one of the things I found from reading all these quotes from the old president, because the website I found put them in chronological order, is a lot of these letters from these presidents around the 1800s, beginning of that century, are all seem to be quite aware of what's going on and against it and wanting to fucking stop it.
Yeah.
But they were just fucking powerless, and their campaigns were fucking sabotaged and.
Yeah.
Because who's fucking the money
They
is
own,
the
they
power.
own the government. There's 5 banking lobbyists per congressman or woman in America.
So you have 5 banking lobbyists putting whispering honeyed words in their ear and money in their account, and you ain't turning
You got
like
26
Gaz, you ain't turning down a shitload of money to spend on drugs and cheap hookers, are you?
Hey! Allegedly.
There's 26.
Allegedly.
There's 26 in total. 26 in total per congressman or woman. Yeah.
If you're listening, darling, most of what I say on this podcast is for comedy purposes. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So there's like 26 lobbyists per congressperson. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In American government, 5 of them are bankers.
Fucking hell.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? I forgot to mention that $5 trillion were lost worldwide because of this crash as well. So not only 15 million jobs, 5 trillion.
15 million jobs and
$5 trillion because the bankers.
The banksters.
The banksters. And I'll tell you what else they did, Ben and Gaz. Yeah, not only did they know they were selling bad mortgages, they were paying off the credit rated agencies for AAAs
Yeah.
to make it look like it's a good investment, even though it was dog shit, selling it on and then betting that it would fail. So they don't not only make money from selling on shit, they make money from betting on that it was going to fail because they knew it was going to fail because it was shit.
Fucking hell. And that was just, green light, go for
because
it.
it was AAA, that meant pension companies could invest in it.
Oh.
So they were buying all these shit mortgages, not knowing what they were, thinking they were AAA solid investment that's never going to go bust.
And you're fucking with
People lost their retirement money. I tell you, man, it's a fucking scam.
Well, I'll tell you what, on the 6th of May 2008, Hank Paulson from the US Treasury Secretary from 2006 to 2009, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal said, I'm going to quote, "I do believe that the worst is likely to be behind us."
Ha!
And on the 7th of September that year, the US government bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, 2 huge firms that guaranteed thousands of subprime mortgages. So the mortgages that they knew people couldn't afford to pay back.
Lehman Brothers went, didn't we mention that?
Yeah. JP Morgan seemed to manage, though, didn't they?
Yeah. They bought out another company called Steer.
That's it, I was just looking at that a second ago. And we're going to wrap it up because it is end of part 1 coming up, so we'll back to part 2 where we delve a little more deeply into the conspiracy side of it and who I think is really responsible for all this.
Stay tuned.
Now save it, man, save it.
It's not bankers, that's all I'm saying.
I got a little quote to end on. A guy called Andrew Sheng. He said, "Why should a financial engineer be paid 100 more times than a real engineer?
Yeah.
A real engineer builds bridges, a financial engineer builds dreams. And when those dreams turn out to be nightmares, other people pay for them."
Yep. And that financial dream engineer will, as much as he doesn't want to be part of the real world, one day have to drive over said fucking bridge or drive on road. Use all the same fucking infrastructure that we
all
use.
That high-speed railway that no one really needs that we're going to build anyway.
Say no to HS2.
Because you can't.
That'll only make sense if you're local.
Yeah, I'd actually get it because it's like you could just use Skype.
Mm?
You know, satellite communication is pretty good nowadays. Why'd you have to physically be there when you can just Skype?
But it's not the same, Ben. I need to look and see the whites of another man's eyes when I'm trying to take his money and get him to sign on the dotted line.
You can see them.
Plus, you know, I can be in London in 45 minutes. Fuck the countryside, you know what I mean? And then back home to my stately Cheshire home.
All right, Rupert.
Hey.
Rupert Tudwiller Smythe.
Fucking wish I was rich.
Well, I share something I wrote a few years ago.
Yeah.
I wrote this in 2014 and I was pissed off at everything. It's called "Capitalism is Our New Religion." Shadowy men with shadowy agendas, secret pacts and secret handshakes, deceitful whispers in the dark, hate-filled men, jealous, greedy, clutching their bony, lecherous hands at the strings, manoeuvring their destructive will. We have been fooled by these people with power, people that control our lives, people who dominate our existence, shackle us, bind us through webs of debt, all the pain and suffering in the world, all because we have chosen the wrong path, chosen the wrong values to reward and aspire to, chosen the wrong people to follow and revere. We have blindly adopted capitalism as our new religion. The all-consuming, wealth-aspiring, tried and tested and rigorously accepted model has become the new Bible, the holy book of the banker, the sacred doctrine of the corporate elite, the regressive and enslaving dogma of the corrupted politician. The prophets have become our new prophets, leading us to capitalist heaven, where the titans of the elite reign over the masses and we worship them like gods.
Nice.
Well done, Mike. I like
Cheers,
it.
buddy.
Yeah.
The titans of the elite.
And then with your celebrities, though, aren't you? The titans of
Yeah.
the elite, your fucking...
The bankers and the...
Well, not just him, like people like... who's that fucker that's always... Kanye, who's always throwing up the
Oh.
Illuminati sign. They're like the titans of the elite. They're the public face of the elite, aren't
We
they?
touched on that in our rock and roll conspiracies episode. Something that I heard today when a podcast I was listening to about all this was... this had apparently something to do with Lincoln's assassination, and... Lincoln was assassinated by a guy called John Wilkes Booth.
Yep, at the Ford Theatre.
Now, apparently, I didn't know this till today, that John Wilkes Booth was the nation's, as possible as it was to be famous in that time, he was the nation's most famous actor.
Yeah, he was,
It's the equivalent of, say, Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp threatened it.
Well,
Didn't
it's
he, at that concert?
can you
Yeah,
literally
he threatened
imagine...
to shoot Trump, or assassinate Trump, I believe.
Just try and comprehend that headline or that actual... imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out at a White House dinner, the actor Brad Pitt produced a pistol and assassinated President Trump. It's fucking...
I think that's what's going to happen when he meets Kim Jong-un.
But
I think Kim's going to shoot him in the face and I'm done with it.
How does the nation's most famous actor end up assassinating a president? That's insane.
Well, he was quite pro-Confederate and slavery and,
He's
you
a
know,
fucking
allegedly,
actor.
though. I mean, that's the accepted version of history.
Somebody
isn't it?
got
I mean,
to him. Somebody got to him. Somebody brainwashed
there were
him.
other conspirators in that, weren't there? There wasn't just him. There was a group of them.
All I'm saying is, Brad Pitt, raise your fucking game.
He's all right.
Who?
Brad Pitt.
Trump.
No, Brad Pitt.
I was gonna say, yeah, I like Brad Pitt.
He's
but I'm
done some
saying,
decent films.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Raise your game and assassinate the fucking president.
No, Johnny
please.
Depp's already threatened it.
Yeah, but he hasn't done it, has he? He's too
No.
busy knocking his wife about, allegedly.
I actually, I'm going to go on record and say I don't think he's that good. I'm going to upset our female listeners. I don't think he's fantastic. I think that you can't do a fucking accent for a start.
Look, all I'm going to say is he's more successful at acting than anyone sat here.
Yet.
Well, yes, but so to try and bring it back to the subject, so who was you on about who got assassinated?
Wait till me and Mike have to play parts in the movie after your mass suicide, mass cult suicide.
There's nowhere in my fucking cult does it mention suicide.
It will eventually once you've taken all the drugs.
It's about accepting your own insignificance and just being happy with that.
But when you've taken all the drugs and become this whacked out cult leader and you've got your little
What do you mean?
stockade.
When I've taken the drugs, I've done.
When you're back on them more and you're a whacked out cult leader and you decide to get everyone to drink the Flavour Aid because you're convinced the government are coming for you, then me and Mike will get movie deals.
No,
Have a couple of years, Mike. We'll be out of this dust. We'll be out of this burg. We'll be in Hollywood.
You asked for this. I'm going to read you a part of the manifesto. Part 1, the knowledge. Yes, I have it already loaded on my phone. Quote, Part 1, the knowledge. The first and probably most vital thing for you to accept in order to fulfill your journey to freedom is that everything upon everything is completely fucked. You are fucked, your friends are fucked, your life is fucked, society is fucked, nature's fucked, science is fucked, religion is fucked, Rice Krispies are fucked, the environment is fucked, history is fucked, the future's fucked, your mum is fucked, and so is your relationship if you have one. That's just a brief, the first paragraph.
That's just the opener.
No, that's not the opener.
Gaz?
Trust me.
Wait, it's Rice Krispies, mate.
It was just, look, that's how comedy works. Would you like me to go on? No. Well, you're going to be sent a PDF or a physical copy and you will be forced to ingest the manifesto of my cult. And you will join me in my quest for acceptance of our own insignificance. So back to what I was trying to say before I was forced to read my manifesto.
If I accept it, I want to be High Pope.
You could be High Pope, but where's your £2.50? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to drink any Kool-Aid. You don't have to take any drugs. You don't have to touch my penis.
The Flavour Aid. It will end up with the Flavour Aid.
Give me the money. What did Geldof say at Live Aid? Where's the fucking money? That's not his accent, but you know what I mean. Back to what I was trying to say. Who was the president who got shot by the actor?
Lincoln.
Yeah, him. The famous one. Vampire hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Was part of his assassination to do with standing up to these forces and these federal people? And
didn't he release his own currency, the greenback?
He brought in the greenback. Now, I'll tell you what then. So we do a bit on greenbacks and then...
I don't know. I haven't got anything on it.
No, okay, I wasn't even aware of this.
He tried...
I went through conspiracies.
He tried to counteract it with the own government-sanctioned, recognised currency, like fuck the reserve.
Oh, because every state effectively had its own currency,
and none of them matched up to it. So what it was worth in Mississippi, it wasn't worth the same in Tennessee.
So in the Civil War, when the Southern soldiers were going into the North, and they were paying them with Southern currency, which was worth a fraction of the Northern US dollar.
Yeah. So he tried to...
I get this,
I've got the Wikipedia up. Greenbacks were paper currency issued by the United States during the American Civil War.
Ah, yeah.
They were not legal tender by law, but were not backed by gold or silver, only the credibility of the US government.
Yeah, so basically you pay your troops in that, because all of a sudden you can afford a massive army, because you're not actually paying them in anything. You're paying them in a worthless bit of paper.
Yeah.
So you can afford to have a massive navy and a massive army. You're actually paying for it, are you?
And the
It's
Federal...
not backed by anything.
The Federal Reserve are not going to be happy with that, are they?
No.
So they brainwashed an actor to shoot him in the back.
Manchurian Candidate.
Whilst watching a play. So, another paragraph. Do you accept the fuckness of it all? Look outside and watch the patterns. Watch the robots on their loop. He leaves at the same time every day. She goes for a jog every Wednesday at 7. Oh, it's Thursday. Here come the bin wagons. There's John and his dog. It must be 1:45. Every day, on and on. All the while, the television and the radio drone away in the background like the soundtrack to willful self-genocide. Get my manifesto at www.
I've just got this image.
Last one.
I've just got this image of you reading all that out at a microphone on a stage to a
Like
packed audience hall, and people like in the throes of Bruce actually falling over, and then you're in these sunglasses because you think that literally the will of yourself is bursting from your eyes in some kind of cyclops-like beam that will incinerate the audience if you don't wear your sunglasses. And you're just randomly pressing the record button on your microphone.
No, I just want you to £2.50.
And oh man, I've just got visions of this going horribly wrong.
I want your £2.50, and I want you, for your own benefit, to willfully accept your own insignificance and join me in the Church of Insignificance.
There's a cult a minute ago.
It's a cult to church. What's the difference?
A cult's a lot worse.
What's the fucking difference?
They're all cults, but if you're going to call it a cult, it sounds worse.
I'm saying it, wink, wink. I promise, guys, I'll pay you for the free advertising space. I appreciate you letting me use our platform that we've built.
You're not using the
brainwash our listeners.
You have to brainwash our listeners. We're saying to our
I'm
listeners...
not trying to brainwash anyone. They haven't read the manifesto
We're
yet.
saying to our listeners, Mike, I think you'll agree with me, don't join a cult.
Don't.
We're supposed to support each other. If you spent the time and effort I'd spent in trying to set up this cult, 5,000 fucking words a whole morning. Remember the snow day? There was a snow day a Friday ago, and instead of enjoying my unexpected day off, lounging about in front of the television, watching box sets, masturbating furiously, I sat at a computer and wrote 5,000 words of utter insanity.
What more for you?
No, I'm waiting for the money to start rolling in.
I don't know, man. I think there's something evil about it.
No.
Something evil about it.
I'm trying to set people free.
Is this coming from the guy who fucking used to be a Satanist? He thinks your cult's evil?
Yeah, I think you're being very judgmental.
I'm the LaVeyan. I'm an atheist who's basically trolling the church by claiming I'm a Satanist. That's what the LaVeyan Church of Satanism is about. Just
Right, next
trolling
week
the
I am
Christians.
reading the entire
No,
5,000 words.
5,000 words out. No, I'm not.
It takes, I've already timed it, 25 minutes
I'm
it
reading
takes.
25 minutes. No, because I'll be fucking wasted by the end of it.
It might help you.
It may not.
You're so judgmental. You need this cult. You need this manifesto. It's going to help you.
Happy in my
It's a system of belief, Ben.
I
That
don't-
only costs
You
£2.50
can't sell
for
belief-
freedom.
You can't sell belief and self-happiness.
Yes, I can. As the last 2 hours taught you nothing. It's capitalism at its finest.
Philosophers have struggled for centuries, and this is me talking about fucking philosophy. They have struggled for centuries
I think I'm
to
broken.
figure out the meaning of life and then how to be happy, and you're flogging it for £2.50.
Nothing comes for free in this world.
It's
Some
more-
insanity he scrawled during a snow day. Whilst possibly high.
Now you're being judgmental. Right, I've already printed physical copies of this to proof copies. Wonderful artwork, as I said, original artwork, designed front and back. You'll both get a free copy next week.
You capitalist shill! Where did you sell your soul, Gaz?
How did I sell my soul? Who the fuck tries to set up a cult and not make money at the same fucking time? What's the point?
You have them last week. We were out on the lash.
Well, good luck with that. £2.50 a pop's going to take you a while.
I know, but
And now you're,
also,
you're forming a cult. You're
no,
on a
look,
snow
look,
day,
hang
you
on, let me
decide to form a
clarify.
cult.
Let me clarify for any future potential customers. It's £2.50 for the physical copy of the book, which I think is fair because it costs money to print the fucking thing. If you want a free online PDF download, then there will soon be a website where you can get that. And hey, it's just going to grow organically with the help of advertising on the cast. So, should we get back to actual capitalism and real money-taking bastards and try and wrap this in bit?
You mean like real money taking bastards like every cult leader?
I gotta say, I'm shocked at your negativity towards my cult. You wait till you read the manifesto.
I've got nothing against your writing. I just think the idea is inherently immoral. You're a talented
to
writer.
charge money for the secret to happiness.
Exactly.
Ah. Okay.
Right, okay, Mike.
Sorry,
what
Mike.
Sorry.
Mike's looking at us like, what the
No,
fuck?
man, whatever.
You two idiots.
Cults and shit.
Science officers. They've divulged into fucking lunacy. And we've just done 2 hours of pretty solid factual information. So,
I'm just sitting back and watching the freak show.
I'm sorry, this is new development. Gaz doesn't usually try to brainwash people into joining his own personal cult. Right, Mike, let's wrap up this first part, and then we'll do some fucked up facts.
Right. What would you expect to find if you typed banking crimes into Google?
Well, I did earlier today, and I didn't find a fucking
No.
line on fairness.
What? That's a fucking conspiracy on its own.
right, okay.
Listen to it, type in banking crimes, anything like that, and see what comes up, because
That's where I found. That's actually where I found the timeline of the banking crisis from. That was the best article I found on.
What about all the crimes that there's millions and millions. I've got a list. I'll get it up for next
I bet if you
week.
typed in violent crime, though, you'd be
Yeah.
fucking bombarded, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You
No,
probably
especially
couldn't-
by ethnic minorities. I'd imagine that'd be top of the list. Actually, can I just Britain first? Leaders getting arrested this week.
Hey.
I was quite pleased with that.
Couldn't happen to a nicer couple.
I read the comments on some of the articles, and I was like,
never read the.
Yeah,
as Dave Gorman calls it, the bottom half of the internet.
Yeah. It was awful, but because none of them seemed to believe that they're actually being done for racially and harassing a bloke who wasn't actually guilty of anything. He had the same name as a guy that had been accused of rape, so they decided to then picket his house and shout rapist at his house and shout racially motivated insults to his letterbox.
Oh my
and she is a crazy wild-eyed bitch. But yeah, I put it.
Oh, good. Can you remember her name? Just
Jada Franson.
If anyone wants to Google it and send her some goodwill, find out what prison she's in, write her a nice letter.
I'd go for a conjugal visit.
She is quite fuckable, to be perfectly honest.
In a weird, chavvy, wild-eyed way.
Yeah, in a
It
weird
pains
sort
me
of
to say
hateful
that.
way.
It pains me to say it.
Yeah. Hey.
It does. Genuinely does. She's not the kind of person I hang out with. But
Look, political opinions, they're not going to stop me wanting to have sex with you because I'm a lover.
Not a fighter.
And a philosopher and a cult leader. So,
it's like it on your CV.
I'm going to get you some sunglasses for next week. Some really big black.
I'm going to turn up next week in a
sunglasses.
poncho. I'm going to wear a poncho and
No,
sunglasses.
next week you need to turn up in a Kim Jong-un jumpsuit. A Kim Jong-un or Kim
It's
Jong-un?
not a fascist type quote. Oh,
Do you have to call you great leader?
Lord Megatron will suffice.
No, because I'm never not fucking.
Actually, the name on the front of the manifesto is Guru Vincent. So
Oh,
in
fuck
fact-
me.
I'm
He's a guru now.
I'm a guru now, yeah. I am a guru. Well, tell me how you qualify as a guru.
You call yourself a guru?
Exactly!
Guru means teacher.
Yes! I'm teaching happiness for
You're teaching
£2.50.
insanity for $2.50.
Go on, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to
We're
fucked
being
up facts now.
arseholes.
Fucked up facts.
So-
Fucked up facts.
Yeah.
There is gold in human brain,
Oh yeah, we are all made of partly gold, aren't we?
and it
It's
is
only so-
needed to charge the neurons. Without gold, our brains would not work.
It's also needed to seed the hole in the atmosphere of the... what?
The
race?
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki, yeah. So
Ah.
that way they're after us.
Maybe.
Also,
Human
you think
batches.
that
There's trace elements of gold, like in
There
our-
is.
yeah,
Our
there's
brains.
elements of loads of stuff in it.
So if
So
I
they're actually
kill-
quite valuable.
If I had the technology to somehow simmer out the gold from your
Mhm.
brain matter, and I went around and killed a lot, is that what the Nazis were doing? Is that where the Nazi gold came from?
No, just teeth, mate.
Ah, yeah, and rings and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
The-
don't
the-
shit on my conspiracy, bro. This is a
It's like,
conspiracy
it's
show.
like fractions of an ounce.
But think
It's like-
about it,
It's not,
right?
not
Yeah,
enough.
but times that by 1 billion people.
Oh, yeah.
What
then
you
got-
what you just
you got
said does
millions
make me
of-
think.
millions of dollars.
Is that how they figured out that gold conducted electricity by the fact that they did loads of autopsies on people
Maybe.
and realised that gold
I doubt
conducts...
it. They've only just got gold and put electricity through it.
I like to think there's some I like to think there's some major autopsy scandal going on. Autopsy conspiracies. That's how
That would have
gold-
been the easier way.
That's why you're the science officer, Mike.
You're gonna stop me when I go off on these little flights of fancy.
Oh dear. I should let you run
You're
with it.
the
Shouldn't I? I should let him run with
science
it. I should let him keep digging his own hole.
No,
Did he realise?
in like that's how we get smartphone batteries because of science, like, experiments carried out by people like Mengele, like hooking electrodes to people's brains
Okay.
and figuring out the gold is in there and
Go
conducting
on.
electricity.
Go on.
And that's how we developed gold in batteries. That's what I'm going with. That's my theory.
I love it. Witzel sucked.
What?
What?
Witzel suck too?
Witzel sucked. I don't know.
That's not how you start a factoid.
The German word for
Ah.
joke addiction.
I
Witzel
think
sucked
I think I see something else. There's a choke addiction.
I've got to be
is a
Witzel
set
sucked.
of rare neurological conditions where the patient makes puns in socially inappropriate situations.
You got that by
I
any
have.
chance?
I got Witzel sucked. And believe me, it was
Mike,
good.
Mike, getting
Was it
sucked-
your birthday?
Mike getting sucked off by a German trucker behind the Burger King.
That's joke of the episode.
Oh, dear.
We're sorry,
I
Fritz.
was trying to think of a pun, but I can't get one. And in Welsh mythology, fairies ride corgis into battle.
The dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish it
corgis.
was sheep. But cool.
I want to see battle corgis. I want to see little corgis with armour on, and little helmets and spikes
Yeah.
and shit. How awesome would that be?
Oh, man.
Also puts a whole new spin on the Queen having corgis, perhaps she's a fairy.
She's a fucking
No,
reptile.
I know there are some members of
Prince
the royal
Andrew is
family that's
allegedly,
definitely fairies, yeah.
Allegedly. I went Edward, maybe allegedly.
She's goat-legged. I know that much.
You suggesting that our beloved monarch has
Oh.
claw and hooves?
I'm
Scales, Mike, you know she's a lizard, allegedly.
Well, I'm not a royal family fan, but I heard on a podcast today a bit of a quelling to one of the royal family conspiracies. You know how everyone thinks Harry is Hewitt's son because he does
look a bit
him.
like him.
Apparently, though, if you were to go, because the Spencer family that Diana came from is older than the current monarchy. It goes back
Yeah,
further.
yeah.
But apparently, if you go to their stately home, whatever, and you look at the paintings going back, or her male relative very strongly resemble Harry. So just because he doesn't look like his dad and looks like and the timelines apparently don't fit when Hewitt was in her life. It's just that he does resemble fucking Hewitt. Really so everyone goes, yeah, Ginger, definitely him. And apparently,
no, that's the fate. I've seen the picture.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Harry,
but apparently, so if you look at all Diana's male relatives, they have a strong sort of resemblance to him.
Yeah.
So but nobody looks at that, do they? Though?
No,
they just look at that one Hewitt picture and go, "Fucking hell!"
I did.
Yeah, me too. But but Diana will be, if it's alright with you guys, an episode for sure, because I'm fascinated with that in future. But I'm rambling because I've had a beer.
And what was the verdict on Diana's death?
In my personal opinion?
No, what was the actual verdict?
I don't know. What is the official?
Unlawful killing.
Yeah.
But that's not a car accident, is it?
No.
Teases for the future.
I'm actually quite sceptical of the whole conspiracy behind that, apart from one major one, which was...
Well, the fact that the Queen owns the courts, it's called Her Majesty.
No, even that.
The fact that the body guy was injected with more alcohol than it's possible to have in you, I'm just saying things.
I just think that there's we'll
the person. What was the car that got away?
The white Fiat Uno.
Yeah, that's the unlawful. Whoever's driving that, unlawful killing.
Yeah, but they never found that car.
No.
Mother flubbers.
They find the terrorists quick enough, don't they?
Yeah, always, because they just go and arrest your local Yusuf. Whatever his name is.
Yeah, anyway, should we sign off?
Yeah, if you have been, I think next week we're going to get into... So we've set up this week how the banking system kind of works.
How it's a massive conspiracy.
Next week we're going to get into how this affects you, how this is a conspiracy. And
I'm going to tell you who's really behind it.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what's the alternative.
That'll be interesting. So, yeah, should we do wrap-ups?
I've been Ben, and I'm going to say, don't drink the Flavour Aid. Don't join a cult. And stay classy.
I'm going to say www.lulu.com/. I'm only joshing. I will give the full website next week. I'm going to say, if you have been, thanks for listening. Free Biff Tannen. See ya.
So as always, peace out. Thank you for listening.
And good night.
Bye.